We are rolling.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the Creative Businessmen. Today, our guest is Jesse, the show producer.
What's up, guys? Hey.
What's up?
Big surprise.
And our producer today is Eric.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's me.
What's good?
We're going to see how good this fucking camera work works.
Yeah.
Oh, you got this in the bag.
We're going to miss a few shots today, is my guess.
I'm wondering if Eric's shot, we got to turn it to the left because I'm not catching all of your beautiful face. What do you think? From seated position here, I should be able to see it all.
The money maker.
The money maker.
Oh, so where are you from, Jesse?
I am, I was born in Georgia, lived in Boone and actually Murphy for a tiny little bit of time, but then basically from kindergarten to like 8th grade, I was in Harleyville, South Carolina, which is way down south in South Carolina, kind of 45 minutes inland from Charleston.
Oh, okay, wow.
Thereabouts, yeah.
At what age was that you moved there?
Kindergarten. So,
okay, so most of your life.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was about 13, I think.
When did you move back this way?
Just to start, right, I was right in time to start high school, so 9th grade.
Okay.
I moved back to the mountains, which I loved. And I was like, with my parents, like, why the heck didn't we just move here? Like, South Carolina sucked so bad. No offense, South Carolina. There are many beautiful things there that I appreciate now, but yeah.
North Carolina didn't want it. They're like, you guys can have the south part of this place.
The swamps are awesome, I have to say.
Charleston's nice.
Charleston is a very nice place. I'd like to go back there for vacation. Actually, and Edisto Island is a great place. My family's been going there for years, and it's just a nice, peaceful place.
Yeah. There's some cool riding places down there, too, for dirt bikes and stuff.
Oh, I can imagine. Oh, and the racing of all kinds is huge in South Carolina.
Yeah. So when you moved back to North Carolina, was it Murphy also?
Pretty much. Is a tiny little town called Brasstown, which is right next to Murphy.
Okay.
And I assume there was a big quarry. Now it's just a pond, but way back in the day and that kind of stuff. But it was great living there for high school, and that kind of stuff was awesome. My parents went there because there was this place in Brasstown called the John C. Campbell Folk School. And basically it's set up, it started off as a homesteading school like 100 years ago, a long time ago, but then it became like a craft school over time. So you can go there and you can learn like blacksmithing and wood carving and all this kind of stuff, and you get trained by masters in it and stuff like that. And typically it's like 1 week and weekend courses and stuff like that,
Oh, that's cool. So for people that don't know, non-North Carolinians, Murphy's the furthest west you can go in the state.
Just about. You hit Murphy, and then you can kind of, you hit other places like Hanging Dog and some like really obscure stuff before you hit Copper Hill, which you're going into Tennessee and Georgia.
It's a beautiful area, though.
I love it. I love the mountains. Like, I keep moving back to North Carolina mainly because of that.
Well,
Even
most
though
people
I live in
don't.
Greensboro, it's flattish here.
Well, yeah. Most people don't realize that the North Carolina the Great Smoky Mountains are the most biodiverse forest in the country.
Oh, yeah.
Even more so than the Pacific Northwest.
Incredible. And, being a filmmaker, I've always wanted to capture it. I've always remember going on the Parkway all the time when I was in college especially, but before that and after that. And it's just amazingly beautiful, especially with the mist and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. What was childhood like for you?
It was all over the place. I liked it when we were first, like, in my early years in North Carolina. I had a lot of friends, and there's sort of like not exactly a Montessori school, but the parents got together with a co-op, and there was a lot of early education that happened that way, and it was really pretty incredible.
That's cool.
And then about time when it's ready to go to kindergarten and stuff, we moved. And then, unfortunately, I wish I could be kinder to school and stuff, but it was just brutal. I guess I was too nice of a kid, or I don't know really what the problem was, but school was a tough place. Like, within the first week or so, like, the kids pushed me underneath the merry-go-round. And I was trapped underneath it for probably like 10 to 20 minutes. I could have died, easily. But then, the teacher discovered to her horror after the bell rang And then, it was kind of, okay, it was kind of embarrassing. I don't care. I was a kid. But basically I had to go in the closet and she had to sew up my pants while I, waited behind a piece of cardboard.
Wow.
And then, that was, I don't know why I'm going on into that. Gosh, I'm just burying
How old were you when that happened?
Kindergarten, like
little
kid.
That wasn't kindergarten.
Yeah,
5 years
so
old.
at least this is my story now. Anything that's like wrong with me, I just go back. Well, see, when I was thrown under that's the reason why I'm fucked up in the head.
That was a rough start.
Yeah. But I had really good parents as far as like they were strong in education and really strong in work ethic. Not so much that they made me work that much. I got much better at working when I got into my teens, but watching my dad, he quit his job before we moved. That was part of the reason we moved from North Carolina to South Carolina. He quit his job and he just kind of, sorry, Dad. He's dead now. But I had he went into like a depression for about 8 years. It was hard for him to kind of find something he wanted to do. And he was basically 20 years older than my mom, and he was born in 1930, so it's almost a different kind of generation.
Yeah.
And he changed a lot in his life.
So he was in his 50s when he had you, right?
He was in his 40s. He was, he was 42 when he married my mom, who was 22 at the time.
Okay. I have a new respect for your dad.
And
a different time there too.
Right.
Yeah, very different.
But I was really lucky that both of my parents put a lot of effort into at least my knowledge and my education and stuff. And even though my dad didn't have a job there for a little bit, he worked for like 10 hours a day in our organic garden, and he was trying to build his business. I didn't realize that back then. What he was trying to do. He was trying to find a business to build, and he tried several things that were craft oriented. And just, it's hard to find money doing that, especially late in life. But he was trying, which I admire. He was a dentist in his past, and all these other kind of jobs.
A little ahead of his time too.
Yeah,
all that stuff.
Yeah, and there we were in South Carolina, kind of in this little incubation of a little bit of anger and depression, and all of that, But we got out of it.
Did your family do any kind of? Was there any art in your family?
All the time. My mom was an art teacher, and my dad was artistic. But my mom, ever since I was a kid, she was giving me things to. I was drawing before I even knew, and then we always had all this like. Most people call it trash underneath the sink in the kitchen, but it was like cardboard and egg cartons and all this stuff, and I would build.
Oh, yeah, that's cool.
I'll take that stuff and just, ever since I can remember, I was doing that.
Surrounded by creativity.
All the time, yeah, lots of that.
Awesome. Mm-hmm. Hey, Eric, can you turn these down just a notch?
I'm going to get that installed for my wife.
Thanks, man.
Little clicker. Turn it down just one notch at a time. A little bit. What do you think? Can I degrade my wife on stage? I can attack the little people, but what the skinny ones. But what about the wives?
As long as it makes you look bad.
Look, I mean, I don't think anybody at the club's going to have a problem, but you might.
Right.
I'd rather deal with the internet, is what I'm saying.
True.
You can do that and come back and talk about your divorce.
That's true.
Afterwards.
The very next day.
It'll totally be worth the 5 minutes of laughs you get.
There you go.
At the open mic.
How committed are you?
Dude, I'm learning stuff about you. I've known you this whole time. I didn't know any of that.
Yeah.
Where have you been?
Over there, man.
So,
there's a lot. Yeah.
When did you get interested in film?
Oh my gosh.
Or filmmaking?
I guess I was probably in high school already. I loved movies already. Okay, actually, I take that back. First movie I ever saw was Star Wars in the theater when I was a little kid, and I remember it. I never sat in my seat. I stood up the whole time. Anytime I saw like Darth Vader and the Stormtroopers, I got really excited. They were my favorite. I always liked monsters and sort of like, I'm not going to say evil, but just kind of, cool looking
Eric's kind of
creatures.
stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I like the bad guys.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You know.
I mean,
You hate horror movies, don't you?
I hate horror movies. I'm not big into like Neil was like, this new horror movie looks amazing. You should check it out. I'm like, why do it? Why? I don't understand you people who like horror movies. My life's scary enough. I don't need to do it for fun.
I do it for a fix, and I can't get it. I can't find a scary movie to scare me anymore. There's
Really?
nothing. It doesn't exist. My wife gets mad at me, and I'm like,
yeah?
I'm not. I'm broken. There's
a
nothing.
couple of new ones that they look pretty decent.
Right.
Have you seen the new James Wan?
Yeah.
And what's the other one?
It's kindergarten
Are you looking at the
playground.
wrong-
What's the one we just looked at? Though it's got some rotoscope stuff in it. It's really
Oh,
cool.
yeah, yeah.
Oh, the one. Yeah. No, by the dude that did all the other movies. I can't remember.
We're
the name
making
of.
one, bro. We're
He
taking
did
we're
District
taking him to
9.
the park. You're getting under the
Oh.
wheel. Yeah. we're gonna scare you.
Demonic. Is that-
Demonic, yeah, that's it,
That
yeah.
looked interesting. I wasn't.
No,
sold.
Demonic is James Wan, isn't it? No, it is.
That's
it's
dude from
the
who
one.
did,
Demonic's the one I'm
Bird?
thinking about.
Yeah,
Is
he
it
did.
Bird?
I can't remember his name.
What's
He
his name?
Oh no, I'm just looking up.
It's Demonic. It is
Gotcha.
Demonic. Yeah.
Yeah, the director did.
I can't remember his name.
He's from South Africa. He did District 9.
Yeah, that's right. I haven't seen it. It looks good though.
Mhm.
I want to see it.
Mhm.
It looks different
Yeah,
because
yeah.
a lot
I'll
of the
give it a
horror
chance.
movies they've kind of became the same thing. It's like
Right.
bunch of the same
Right,
stuff.
I'll finish *Malignant*. Like I wasn't. Slasher movies I like older. I like slasher movies from the *70s, early '80s,
Yeah.
and then the sort of bringing them back in the '90s and stuff. They were more like comedy to me than they were really horrific.
Have you seen Tucker and Dale versus Evil?
I have. I love it. I
a
like
great
comedy
movie.
horror. It's great.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah.
The Hatchet movies, if y'all seen those,
I haven't seen those.
Those are pretty good. You know.
Daniel, do you
Funny.
even watch movies?
I don't know.
You
Yeah,
like
good.
them?
I'd probably like him now. I don't. I mean, I do watch some TV, but not
You
a
ain't got
lot.
no time, man.
Not a lot.
Yeah.
I was just sleeping in the car,
That's
you know.
right.
I mean, it's like I gotta, and that's rare. I don't know if I've ever done that, but yeah, no, I don't have a ton of time. I do enjoy it. Actually, there was a period when things were a little bit slower for Neil and I,
Yeah.
and one of the activities that I actually started to really like. There were some times where Neil and I would go to the movies together. I thought that was pretty awesome.
Hell yeah.
We didn't get to do it a lot because it got real fucking busy.
What were
Real
the movies
quick.
you guys checked out last time?
I don't even remember.
Yeah.
Man, yeah,
What-
it's been so long.
Oh, yeah.
So long.
It was still not a very common event. We
Right.
went
No.
a few
I
times.
mean, like
Yeah,
this
so
might have
once
been
in a while.
like this might have been 3 times or
Yeah.
something like
Were
that.
they in black and white? Is
Yeah. Well, they were. You had
There were
to.
vampires.
Some Groucho
crank-
movies?
You had to bring quarters. You know. And,
The
yeah.
little peep movies.
Yeah.
Quarters
Yeah. Well,
and-
those quarters, and you had your own stall.
Some,
know.
some extra towels?
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. They had the
And you know,
dispenser booth. Yeah.
if you had enough quarters, your chair would vibrate too, which I thought was kind of interesting. You know, I was wondering if maybe I was in the wrong seat.
I think you were the right seat for some people.
That's true. Maybe it was Neil's seat. I don't know.
You wouldn't get on my booth. What are you doing?
But yeah.
I used to go to the movies on usually late at night before the pandemic. I would
Yeah.
go occasionally, maybe once a month probably.
Yeah.
Go to like a late movie
Right.
after the family's asleep and stuff. But
Yeah.
I don't do it now. Like and they don't have late show times like they used to either.
They don't have late anything anymore.
That's true. Yeah,
Yeah.
everything's.
So I watched that Sam Morril documentary yesterday, and it's all the comics standing outside the club at 11:30, and they're like, "Well, I guess it's time to go home." But it used to be able to stand out there till 5 in the morning,
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
and
weird.
it's edging back that way. But yeah, I used to love going to places after midnight. Now there's almost
Yeah.
nothing.
Yeah, I like to. I don't feel selfish when if I take that time, you know, for myself, or if Neil and I would decide to hang out, in quotations, you know, like we were hanging out. What that really meant was that we put in a solid day, like 15, 16, 17 hours, and we're tired. We probably should be sleeping, but you know, our kids are asleep, the wives are asleep. Like we can take this extra 2 or 3 hours and like
Wind down.
wind down, right? And
That adrenaline's still going.
yeah, and you're not taking away from somebody else because they're just sleeping. You know, like
Right.
that was my at least for me that was my justification.
Right.
So
Also, if I'm hanging out with Daniel, I'm doing something productive. So
yeah,
Right.
we'll talk about important
100%.
things.
100%.
I'd say like watching movies. I watch some now, and I didn't get a chance to watch a lot when I was a kid. You know, because they're kind of special events. You know.
Yeah.
But I watched tons of them, like through my late 20s and through my 30s, like just tons, because I was
Yeah.
really so focused on I'm 25. I'm almost dead. I got to make a movie. You know?
My parents really enjoyed movies, so when I was a kid, we watched a lot of movies.
Yeah.
We were always watching movies. And when I was in my 20s, I went to the movie theater a lot.
For sure.
20s and 30s.
I think good movies can help. You know, it
That's
makes
why I got
people
into-
like think about things. You know?
Yeah, well, it's ideas. You know.
How old were you when you
Expression.
decided to make your first movie?
I had to be like either my first or second senior year of college. Maybe my junior year of college. I was kind of like
Considering it?
yeah. Well, my parents did something real special for me then. I was finishing up art degree at UNC Asheville, and but I love movies. I wanted to be a director. I wanted to be Spielberg and all that kind of shit. Young filmmakers say they want to be, but
It's probably what Spielberg said.
right. Well, yeah. I mean, he just walked onto a lot and just kind of worked his ways, and wow, But let's see. Going back, early movie, college. My parents basically paid for me to go to the summer immersion program at the School of the Arts in Winston-Salem.
That's cool.
And it was everything I had been dying to fill my head up with. It was just constant. It was a barrage of information from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. every day for, I think, 5 weeks straight. And then you make a little film at the end and all this kind of stuff. But
Yeah.
I got so much out of that. Like, never was there not a moment that I wasn't, like, going towards learning that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I definitely had a lot of fun with the friends I made and stuff like that there. But, you know, it was just, I like that kind of concentration.
Such a great school, too.
Yeah, it is. It really is.
A lot of people don't realize how good of a film school that is.
Oh, it's incredible. Yeah, a lot
It's
of big
15 minutes from here.
Yeah, and a lot of big names have come out of there and have taught there.
Yeah.
It's pretty interesting, at least in the world of filmmaking.
Yeah, that's where what's his name's from? Foot Fist Way guy.
Oh, yes.
Danny Way.
Yeah.
No, Danny. What's his last name? Danny.
Damn it.
Danny McBride.
Danny McBride. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
Danny
from-
McBride.
Eastbound and Down. I love that show.
Yeah, he went to the School of the Arts.
Danny, you would love actually Eastbound and Down.
Oh, yeah?
It's short and it's
Oh,
funny
yeah,
as hell.
it's right up your alley. Anything
Yeah.
Danny McBride does, I think you
Yeah.
would be a big fan.
Raunchy,
Awesome.
silly.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
I like
good
it.
comedy.
But it's quick, small bites.
Yeah. Fun
Yeah.
stuff.
I just want to point out something I just noticed. It's not bothering me, but it's close. Did you change the you got the stash? Yeah, something's different here.
Oh, I shaved a little bit
Yeah,
the other
well-
day because I'm staying in a hotel and I don't have to clean that shit up.
Hey,
So I shaved everything. My balls are real clean right
hey,
now.
I like it. I like it.
Pretty good. It's when when you don't have to clean up the big mess. It's like, well, I'm gonna go ahead and shave now. So
Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
good idea, actually.
It's
Clean
always
it
a
up.
pain, right?
it is.
Yeah.
I don't grow facial hair very well. Like it looks like I licked my hand and put a bunch of pubes on my face. Like I can't get the beard like you got.
Oh
So.
yeah.
Yeah. I shaved it a little bit, just trying to clean up the other day. That's all. Yeah.
I'm thinking about taking some of this hair off my beard and maybe put it on the top of here.
We can do that. Yeah.
Yeah. We can graft it.
That's
Yeah, that's we should better do that.
I appreciate you fixating on my facial hair, though. That's
I don't know what happened. I was
Nice.
I was looking over. I was like, what's going on?
nice segue into manscaping, though.
Yeah.
Yes.
I was going to say that
Sponsored by Manscaped.
an excellent product.
Keep those balls
If
clean.
you want to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to put this out there to Manscaped. If you would like me to manscape with your product, let me know.
Yeah, you got a good following on TikTok. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
You
I got
Yeah,
like,
that's
I don't
true,
know,
yeah.
11 million, 12 million views. Yeah, we can. Yeah,
That's true, yeah.
TikTok will probably ban me, but we'll we don't need, the censored. Censored's too long of a word.
Right.
Yeah.
We'll just do like the itty bitty gray box,
There you go.
so you can't really see what I'm doing.
The lawnmower is an awesome device. You
Ah.
just go anywhere with that thing.
Yeah.
You're going to get hurt. It's not going to pull chunks out of your stuff. It's great.
Use promo code Businessman at checkout.
Speaking of technology, have you guys heard of this? I think maybe you may have mentioned this on the show.
Before we do that,
Oh, yeah.
what was your first movie?
Oh God, my first movie was F1, Film 1.
Oh, that's cool.
I made that at the School of the Arts, and it was a weird head trippy movie, kind of gangstery, kind of druggy, kind of like somebody gets shot and poison and stuff.
It sounds like the 90s.
Yeah, it
like
was.
grunge.
Every shot I think was a Dutch angle. I mean, it's tilted, you know. Because I just wanted. I was watching so much German expressionism at the time that I was terrible. Yeah.
That's cool. No, it's creative, man.
Yeah.
It was your.
You emulate the things you like, you know.
Yeah. It's all inspiration, everything. But.
Yeah, that was the first one, but then there's another one we'll get to later, that Static, and that was a real good. That kind of cemented that I need to make films for the rest of my life. I kind of want to go back and kick my own ass because of that, but that's okay. You know, it happens.
You want to kick your own ass for it
because filmmaking's so heartbreaking.
Yeah.
And hard.
I mean, that's everything creative, right? Like, you make it and you hope it's not shit, and then it probably is. And I think it's like the process of making the thing makes you better than you were when you made it.
Oh, yeah.
And so when you get to the end of it, you look back at it and you think, I got to do better than that. And that's because of the process.
And doing that balance with rent and gas.
Also that, yeah.
Well, that's what messes up the process.
In
some ways it strengthens it.
Yeah, it strengthens other parts of you. Like I really wished I had strengthened the business side of myself when I was younger.
Yeah, if you can overcome
really
that,
wished I had done that.
You know, a lot more.
It is what it is.
I can't say too much because there's a couple of active ongoing deals, but you know, one of the things that I feel cursed with is that the creativity part, the business part of me gets in the way of that. It's just like what you just said. Like, so I get somebody, or we get somebody that has like all this passion for whatever it is, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
And you can see it in their work, you can see it in their expression, you can hear it in their voice, right?
Right.
And you got to kind of be a dream killer a little bit because it doesn't necessarily translate to profit, right? To revenue.
Sure.
And so there are things like this morning I had a conversation with somebody where I kind of stepped on their dream a little bit, but not intentionally, just the reality, and they already knew the reality.
That's probably you did them a favor.
I did. They've been living the reality for 20 years.
They probably still won't listen to him.
They won't.
But they'll think about what he said after it fails.
Yeah.
Right.
So, but I had to do that this morning, and like at first I caught myself. He was so passionate about what he was saying. Yeah. That I caught myself falling into it. Like, you know what, maybe. But by the end, I was like, this is not going to work.
Right.
So I wonder, you know, like you say, hey, the bills, the things, like they get in the way of it. Maybe it's good you didn't have to. Like for me, like those things are so present, I can't. Right. I can't. It's hard for me to step out. Like that's why I have Neil.
I'm gonna make my
that is also why I have Neil.
You know, Neil's like a healthy mix of both.
For
well,
sure.
I mean, when I started chasing comedy, I realized that I had to do a couple things. One was burn my bridge at my old job so that they wouldn't take me back, because I did try to go back, but I set that motherfucker on fire so that they wouldn't. And then also, it was because of the bills and all of that, I had to move into my van, because can I survive here? Because if I can survive here, that means I don't have to worry about the money part of it. I can just worry about the creativity part of it. Yeah, and I needed that. Yeah. And, you know, don't do that if you don't have to. Yeah. But there is a value to it.
That couldn't have been
Sometimes
easy.
You have to, man. Like that's, I mean, we've been through this similar things in business. It's sacrifice.
Yeah.
You know, if you really want something, are you willing to give up mediocrity to choose a passion?
I mean, take a little bit of suffering.
Yeah.
For the long-term goal, you know what I mean? And honestly, I think I was just into suffering for a little bit anyways. But
you got to fold and redeal yourself too sometimes.
Sometimes I think a little bit of punishment's good for you.
Well, pain can create inspiration, you know?
Yeah. Without it, how can you ever appreciate what you're going for, or what something good? How can you even describe what good is?
I think Eric said something a few months ago about everything is relative to your experience. So you don't have to experience something really horrible for something to be really horrible to you.
Totally.
And so I mean, I don't think people have to live a life of suffering to create good art.
Absolutely.
I think you have to have some type of diversity, but it doesn't have to be
adversity.
Adversity. Yeah.
You know, it's when I first started talking about a lot of really heavy stuff on stage, other comics would come up to me and tell me about their life, and like, try to play this tennis with me, whose life was worse. And I was like, it's we used to call it trauma tennis whenever anybody come up and play it.
You're pretty good at it.
I'm ranked top 10.
I don't want to play you.
No.
Until I met somebody who was much better than me. But I think what it turns out to be is you just have to realize that the worst thing that happened to you is the worst thing that happened to you. It's equal to the worst thing that's happened to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
However you feel about it is honest. You know what I mean? We don't have to build that up. Whatever that shitty thing is shitty enough. You know
Right.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whatever your experience is, you can use that experience to create something.
Yeah.
But we also
express.
get caught in this idea, and I know I'm guilty of it. It's like, well, I have to suffer or I have to be funny. Like, especially when it comes to like mental illness type stuff.
Yeah.
It's like you'll meet a lot of comics who are, depressed, and then it's like, hey, you got to get some help. And it's like, well, I won't be funny anymore. It's like, I promise you, you will.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But that's your depression trying to survive. It doesn't want you to go out and take swings at things. You know.
What's fun? What I've noticed about myself is I don't suffer from depression. I've had some bouts of depression, and I have anxiety.
Yeah.
But I use anxiety more of a motivator.
Right.
But it's fun. I'm such an optimistic person that a lot of the trauma I've experienced in my life, it doesn't really seem like trauma to me because of the way I process it.
Yeah.
Right.
It's just I think I have I think you're probably the same way. Like I have a lot of capacity to deal with traumatic things.
Yeah.
I think it conditions you really well to what most people think is stressful. Like Neil, it's like a walk in the park for us. Like,
Yeah.
Well, I have to say, like, having gone through bouts of feeling both, but it's all about like learning and a process. And then once you do a thing,
yeah,
it ain't really a thing to do it again.
No. Yeah,
and even if
exactly.
you fail at it again, you kind of know the deal, and then it's like less painful.
Yeah, the failure is just a learning process.
I like that you complete things though. Like, so think about it. Like a lot of people will just quit.
Yeah.
How difficult it is it, to make a film, right? From start to finish.
It's hard. And believe it or not, there's a few things I started early on that I didn't finish, but those were things that were part of the learning process, whether I had a camera but couldn't get a computer together good enough to edit. It was in the threshold of when technology was changing.
Yeah.
So it was way harder to even get the stuff, and do it, And
like
some I went to Italy and shot a whole documentary that's still on tape.
Do you still have the footage?
I have the footage that was shot on like Super 8, like a long time ago.
We need to take a look
It was
at
an
that.
archaeological dig, and I learned all kinds of stuff traveling by myself and not speaking any Italian. And
sometimes some things don't need to be produced, and
Right.
sometimes just the experience is what you needed.
Yeah.
Like the trip, like we,
that's it.
me and a couple other guys took a
great.
trip out to Arizona. It was probably back in 2015
Uh-huh.
to shoot a documentary,
Right.
and it was on meteorite hunting. We
okay.
got a ton of footage. We actually got to see an archaeological dig site, and
Right.
interview the head archaeologist, and I've actually got a lot of good footage from that trip that we
Right.
should probably do something with. But
Right.
but I got the inspiration for a screenplay that I wrote that did really well in competitions, and that was really what I got out of the trip. Was
Oh, yeah.
well, that having just a good time with a couple friends,
Right.
and I learned a bunch of stuff, and that's
Yeah.
what I got out of that trip.
It was pivotal. The same for me in Italy. It was a pivotal experience.
Yeah.
I saw the whole country just on buses, and
But I'm pretty
Trains.
confident you must have some really good footage from that.
there's a lot of
Yeah.
good stuff. And back in the day, I would play around with it and stuff. There's a few timelines, but that was over 10 years ago.
And it's on high.
high 8, and I think I digitized. It's all on a hard drive somewhere.
Okay.
Yeah.
Be cool to see that.
Yeah.
I love going through anybody's old anything.
Yeah.
Right.
Like I'm fascinated with it. So
yeah, it's-
having that footage to me is like I love that.
It's
We know you like
8 to
footage.
10
I
hours.
do. I love it. Yeah, I really do. I'm super into it.
There's some boring shit on this.
I'm
Italy
good with it.
documentary.
I'll watch anything, man.
We could actually make a today's Truman Show with Eric.
I'm
He
in
would love it.
It's like the thing that we shot last week. I've seen that 25 hours worth at least. Since
Oh, yeah.
then. You know what I mean? And
That's good, though.
I'll watch it 3 more times tonight.
Well, when it comes to the edit, though, you'll be ready.
I hope so.
Yeah,
you know?
that's true.
Well, especially because I don't know what
And
the
you'll
fuck
have a
I'm
good
doing.
editor, and he's basically editing is all about, it's very much about your biology, you know, like when do you think that shot needs to cut, you know, and how, and that kind of stuff, you know, and it's making that cut. Really, there is no exact, you can make whatever cut you want on whatever fucking frame you want, really, you know, but figuring out like that special moment when to do it is, it takes finesse, but you know, good editors have that.
Yeah, well, I think it's like anything else. The more you do it, the better you get. And they probably
Absolutely.
have sort of an intuition about it just feels like it needs to change here or this.
Oh, yeah.
You know, they can feel the shot.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, Walter Murch said it best. He had it standing up, and I started doing that a little bit too. But when the shot happens, his whole body takes the impact of the cut. I know it sounds silly.
No, it makes sense. No,
you know, he feels it, so it gives him more of a barometer to tell
it's that
when to
intuition
make the
and
cut,
learning
you
how
know.
to trust it and not think it's silly, I think, is like the trick, right?
Yeah, and overthinking stuff I used to do, and I don't do anymore. Now I'm real brutal. I just, you know, straight through, almost like a factory now. And then you got to back up and then make it artsy after you factory cut it, you know.
Well, it's tough to cut things out, even in writing or anything. I'm sure you deal with that with comedy too, right?
No, not very much. I tend to overdo everything, so when it comes time to cut things, it's
You don't
just a
mind?
natural process. When it comes to like comedy and stuff, I know that 95% of the stuff I'm going to say doesn't mean anything. It doesn't matter, and I can get rid of it, and it'll be fine. But I'm only really looking for that 5% anyhow.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
How were you early on? Were you
Horrible. Well, I was just so scripted. Everything I wrote, every sentence, every pause. If I did it in the mirror that morning, it was happening on stage.
Oh, that's interesting.
There was no. So I told you every year on my anniversary. This whole podcast, by the way, anytime I'm talking, I'm not on camera because I can't look. I'm not as good as Jesse. But every year on my anniversary, I pick one thing that I'm the worst at, and then I focus on it for the rest of the year. And one year it was that I was too stuck on my set list. And so I promised myself no more set list, no more thinking about it, just walk up on stage and just start doing stuff. And that's the year I had the most opportunity. So I was at big clubs.
Did you like it better doing it that way?
No, it was horrible.
No? Oh.
But it was the suffering. I had to suffer through it because I
Okay.
wasn't going to get good at it unless I hurt myself with it. You know what I mean? And,
Interesting.
yeah, getting through that. But it's changed everything. And now this year, my anniversary was Wednesday when we shot that special. Now it's the exact opposite. It's like I got to start writing again and figure out how to now implement that with the energy and the quick thinking that I have now that I've hard earned, and now I got to go back and hard earn the other thing, you know.
Right. It used to be harder, like for me, like cutting video and stuff, harder to let, because you got sometimes like your most beautiful shot and the whole thing kind of might get in the way. So you got to be willing to just ditch it, even though it looks gorgeous, but it's not serving your story, and you really need to get to this other point, and that's just kind of getting in the way.
Yeah.
You know, but that's a very, you know, maybe that shot could have worked, but, you know, those are the decisions you kind of end up making.
It's like that in screenwriting too. Like you write a really good scene, but it just doesn't have a place.
Oh,
or it's just unnecessary.
Right. Yeah, I'm about to go into a big rewrite of a screenplay, and I'm kind of building up my chi to take it on.
Yeah, it's daunting.
Yeah. I'm going to use index cards, though.
There you go. Listen, Matt, this is going to sound, Neil's not going to like this. I literally, the other day was like, I'm about to go buy some index cards. Not for the same reason.
Right.
I'm going to write my list of things to do on them, like literally.
Dude.
Like and just organize them in order of priority, and like, all right, I'm going to carry these damn things around, and they're not going. I can't get rid of it till I do it, right?
That's what I did in college.
I'm literally this
now.
close.
That's what I do now. It's if you see me in my natural habitat on the other side of that curtain, if you walk in the middle of the night, there are 52 index cards strewn about, and I pick one up and I focus on it until it's done, because if I don't, I try to do all of them.
It's great.
Yeah.
Though. And you can strike off those things.
What
Well,
works for you?
I'm working through the apps, and I've got all the stuff, and I'm just like, You see, I've got this out of sight, out of mind problem.
Yeah, but you can't do all the stuff you need to do.
I can't. No, I can't physically
Need an assistant.
do it all. And I'm cursed with this out of sight, out of mind. So when you go to my desk looks a hot mess, right, to everybody else. But to me, it does not come off my desk till it's done.
Right.
So as you can imagine, shit builds up.
For sure.
Right? But I like it because it kind of is my barometer of how much shit I've got to do.
Are you kind of like me? My desk too. It just accumulates shit, and then I'll go through a few weeks or whatever, and then I'll organize everything again. Put shit where it's supposed to.
His is more like a daily.
Shit.
Yeah, mine's daily, unfortunately.
Okay, gotcha.
It kind of restacks.
Right.
Definitely Monday's the biggest.
sure.
Like it just by the end of by like 4 or 5 o'clock Monday, it's just huge.
Right.
And then it dwindles down. And sometimes if I'm ultra productive and if I stay till midnight or 1 a.m., I can really crank it down. And then by the end of business Tuesday, I can really have it down. There's been a couple of times I've gotten it by Wednesday, like dialed in.
Some say messy desk is a sign of high intelligence. So
Yeah.
at least, look at what's his name, Crazy Hair, our most famous scientist. From
Einstein.
Einstein,
yeah. His desk was,
I'm going to blow smoke at my own ass. I consider myself to be highly intelligent, but
You are.
Well, I mean, is it? When did you find that process for you? Like, what is that a new thing? Is it always
it's
how it works?
I noticed, and everybody says the out of sight, out of mind, but really what it is I think I've got. I don't know if it's ADHD. I have no idea. It's so many things going through my mind that it's not that I forget about it necessarily. It's that something else captures my attention.
Yeah.
Right. And there's always a project. And even when I was younger, I always had, I'm going to work on this. I want to do this. I want to do this. And like I can't read one book at a time. I'm in the middle of reading like 6 right now. Like,
that's cool.
So I will do something until I'm like, okay, I'm over it. And I'll get to a moment, I got to check out. I got to take 40 minutes and just stop doing everything, right? And then I'll talk, I'll get some social interaction, I'll get back to it, right?
Yeah.
But the same thing works with some of these activities. Like I'll go down a path on one thing, and sometimes I dive in, I'll get horse blinders on, and I get in the zone. And then I'll come out of that and just be like, all right, I'm over this thing. I've got to move to something else.
Right.
And so I think that's where it was like, if I didn't keep it right in front of my face, I kind of forgot that it needed to be done. And, I think that's where it became. It's just like, all right, so I can't put anything up. So like everywhere I'm at, like I just leave the shit out right in my face. Like,
but I bet you know where everything is on the.
I know exactly where everything is.
Yeah, I feel like it's one of those rules that's been implemented by dum-dums, where it's like everything needs to be neat and organized. And there's a quote that I think I said it on the podcast last week. It's what is normal for the fly is chaos, or what is normal for the spider is chaos to the fly.
Yeah.
And whatever system works for you. I have big dry erase boards, and it looks like I'm a lunatic, and they're all over I look like a serial killer if you walk into my apartment. They're all over the place. And, some of these phrases are not good ones, but it's like that's how I because you've talked about being ADD before and kind of using it to your benefit. I think I do a little bit of the same, right? So,
yeah, I don't think it's a problem.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, for some people it is, right? But and I think maybe in the system that we've set up, it's probably a problem. But if we're talking about creativity, whatever it is that moves you forward, I think is the right thing,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I have a lot of the same stuff as that, but I think that's part of.
I don't think it's a problem. I just think it's like the way, like this phone is.
No, I think it's an advantage.
Yeah, no, this phone is like out of sight, out of mind to some extent, and here's why for me.
Yeah.
Everybody else might get like, maybe you set up an app and you got things, but you guys can't see. But I mean, here I'll just look, just to give you a verbal. 169 messages in one, 8 in another, 4 in another, 41 emails.
Right.
Like, so it's lost in translation. So,
Yeah.
so this is out of sight, out of mind, because everybody's like, oh, well, if you get a notification, I get notifications 24/7, right? So if I use the reminder app, and it helps.
Right.
And I use my calendar religiously, but it's too easy to get lost in there. So
Right.
like I've kind of, on some level, I guess, visual. Like I just want to crap in my face.
Yeah.
So I'm literally about to go old school and start carrying on index cards.
I'm with you.
I think that AR technology would be really helpful
Yeah. Yeah.
when you have AR glasses and you can see, like you can just look at you can look up at the corner of your glasses and it'll just pop down a list of the shit you need to do that day.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I want
sort of
my
thing.
little floating robot assistant. I'm waiting on one of those.
Oh, yeah.
I'm trying to figure out a good name for mine,
Yeah.
I don't know why, but Jarvis comes to mind from
Yeah.
Iron Man.
yeah,
Oh,
Iron
yeah,
Man. Yeah.
Yeah, that type of AI would be nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be cool.
For sure.
I don't know about the metal suit. Maybe we can come up with something a little bit more, friendly for me.
Right.
I just always wondered about that. Like, how's he comfortable?
Well, I mean, we don't know because we're not that smart. You know what I mean?
The Hulkbuster suit could be comfortable.
Yeah. That would be awesome.
It's kind of roomy.
That'd be awesome.
I mean, there's a lot of things that look uncomfortable that are comfortable, right? Like, I mean, you've got a Lamborghini. I look at that, I'm like, I don't know. And then I get inside, I was like, holy shit. So I'm sure whoever put an Iron Man suit together figured out some comfort.
Yeah, that's true.
Nobody who makes an Iron Man suit hates their job, I promise.
Right.
That's true.
Yeah, true.
The Lamborghini thing, I've heard that before, actually, and I think what it is, I think this is a defense mechanism for us. It's like, I bet that thing's uncomfortable as hell. I bet it gets terrible gas mileage. Oh, man, does it beat you up? Did you beat your body up all day riding around that thing? So I think what it is, it's like a defense mechanism. Like, these are all the reasons I don't want that.
Yeah, I don't want one.
Yeah, I've never.
When
owned
really
one
I'm
of
sure
those.
they're comfortable as hell.
When really all it is I don't have the energy to work hard enough to get one. So let me talk myself out of it. Let me talk myself out of it, so I don't even have to think about working that hard.
You miss your kid's birthday? What? Their school trips? Yeah. You miss all the activities? Oh, yeah. No, I think I'm good. No. Speaking of that, Neil recently, had an opportunity pop up, and this just goes to it. It's like missed a birthday party, missed the birthday, missed the back to school, the first week of school.
Yeah.
Right?
First day of kindergarten.
First day of kindergarten, yeah.
Yeah.
And she could have ended up under the wheel, the Ferris wheel thing.
Oh, man.
What's that thing called?
The merry-go-round.
Merry-go-round. She could have ended up and she made it, thancfully, but
Yeah.
I think those death traps are gone now, I believe.
That's true, yeah.
I'm pretty sure she goes to a better school.
Our playgrounds were dangerous when I was a kid.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, that's because they were designed by people who just came home from a war.
Right?
I mean, like, what's fun? A bunch of spinning metal at high speed.
So let's make the slides really high and really slippery.
That was the steep slide was
Bro,
the
and
one
hot.
you wanted.
And
hot.
Stick to your skin.
I used to do this thing. My parents used to watch me do it on the big metal twisty slides.
Yeah.
I'd carry my bike up the stairs and I'd ride it down. And I almost never made it all the way to the bottom. But I mean, why was that thing available to us? It doesn't make any
And
sense.
why did they let you do that?
Oh, why did they encourage it?
Yeah.
hey,
Yeah.
my friends have had 3 pina coladas. Show them that thing you do. And that thing I did was go get stitches.
Oh yeah,
You're going to love this shit. Watch this. He eats ass every time.
For a second and a half, he's just flying through the air. It's real adorable.
Oh man, toys back then.
So you were an entertainer at an early age.
Oh yeah, pretty early on. Yeah. Jesse, when you were saying earlier that with the filming and stuff like that, and then you had you didn't have the business side of it,
right?
With this project that you guys have been working on together, how has that influenced?
Oh my! You're talking about the podcast?
Yeah, the podcast and these guys and having access to them and hearing the conversations. Because I've just recently started scouring every episode and really paying attention. It's informative, right? So you sitting here in this position, getting to hear those conversations. How has it affected
Well,
the
my
art?
mind has been blown up and wide by these two guys, and not to blow too much smoke up y'all's asses, but I knew that. God, how to even attack this? Honestly, like being around you guys, just watching how y'all operate and stuff like that is good. It's influential on other people that are around you. These people that come in to talk to you. I watch, I love hearing all the new stories each week, and I can never say what episode is better than another because there isn't one that's better than another. But just watching the sort of back and forth, watching you guys learn from this person, but then seeing how you turn around, use it with your abilities and in the conversation, give them sort of new ideas and stuff too. There's an interesting kind of back and forth with that, and and just being around you guys, you aren't so bad. Business people aren't that bad. I'm like, Dad, what the fuck? But it's been very healthy for me. But I'm kind of going through a part in my life of I'm ready to build something, but I'm not really quite sure what it is yet.
Yeah.
And I'm just the wheels are turning and spinning, but I'm at a moment now that sort of like feels like when you're working out, you're on a plateau for a while.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And something needs to change. Something needs to shake. I'm ready to do something, and at least creatively, and hopefully that will be also in the realms of being good for business as well, or at least better than before, without like paying it any mind.
Yeah. Well,
who needs money for survival?
Yeah. When you're creating stuff, I think you should keep in mind if you want to create something that's marketable, you have to consider that through the process.
Absolutely.
And also, I mean, just the fact that you're constantly thinking about it, that's part of the process too. That's what gets you to do it. It'll keep bugging you until you do something about it.
Oh yeah.
It's a little bit of a curse.
Yeah, it is.
A little bit. I say it's a blessing and a curse, but like
you can't let yourself off the hook.
No.
Yeah. Oh.
I've got things like they almost haunt me.
Yeah, same here, man. Just
things that from the past and stuff. Like
just current projects, things like dreams, goals, ambitions,
trying to get something to work.
Anxiety. Yeah, it's just like
yeah,
it's nonstop. And sometimes if I don't do something, I can't sleep. Like I'll literally just be like, all right, fuck this. I'm
just
getting
get up and do it.
And
because you're not gonna sleep. You're just gonna lay there with your eyes open, thinking about it.
Yeah, I made a mistake this morning. Honestly, at 5:30 this morning, I was just getting in and going to bed. I should have just grabbed an energy drink and stayed up, cranked out. I got to my 8 o'clock, and then I should have slept after that.
Right.
But like I started to go to bed, and if it wasn't for pure exhaustion, I wouldn't have went to sleep because I was like, man, I didn't do this.
Right.
And again, so this out of sight, out of mind thing. Before we came on, Neil's like, oh, have you talked to this and this and this? Now, last night I did send a message. He didn't answer this person. And then this morning, even though I was exhausted, I was like, all right, I need to call. I called again, send emails. It'll just bother me because it's just not. Yeah. What you end up doing in business, you'll figure out too, is you just incessantly follow up with everybody else to make sure they do their job.
Yeah.
Constantly. Yeah.
And it's very, very frustrating.
Yeah.
And so if any of my attorneys are watching this is nothing personal. But I think attorneys deal in what's on fire. Good attorneys.
Yeah.
And the best attorneys, the most expensive attorneys, I feel like that's their go-to. Like when your life is on fire, whether that be a high-value lawsuit, some type of litigation, or somebody's been hurt. Like in the moment that you need an attorney, like in that extreme moment of need, they're usually there, right? And they excel. Those rock stars.
Yeah.
But when you're trying to be proactive, and you're working on things that aren't on fire, meaning that you're just trying to work on something that's like a long-term, or hey, I need to do this.
Yeah.
They're very hard to get a hold of. Because they're dealing with somebody else's fire.
Yeah.
And so I've got an attorney that I love. Like, he's awesome. But if your world's not on fire, and he'll tell you, he's prioritizing, like, he's dealing with somebody else's world that's on fire.
Right.
And so he'll kind of fit you in when he can. And that part is very frustrating.
Right.
So, like, it's like a never-ending to-do list.
Yeah.
So
you'd think they would have personnel set up for that, but they need their personnel to handle the fire.
The problem is their personnel is not them. So...
Right.
If you got a rock star can have assistants, and they can have paralegals.
But you don't want to see the guitar tech on stage.
No,
you want to see him.
But you still have to talk to them first.
Yeah.
Right.
Now they need the guidance of the rock star, because when you talk to the underlings, and I'll use that term in a broad sense.
Right.
They pretty much almost always default to they're just note takers.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're taking instruction from the lead attorney, and that. So doing contracts or whatever.
But I literally am haunted by the things that I either haven't done, have to do, things I've messed up.
And it's constant.
Errors in business. I've left money on the table. All the time I leave money on the table. And some of that is I'm probably too nice.
Right.
And you need an assistant too.
Yeah, I do need an assistant. Some of it's just a learning curve. Like, you'll get to the end of something and realize you could have done something slightly different.
Oh, yeah.
So the next time you do it,
you'll save time.
You save time, you save money, We've got a couple of new businesses that we've ventured in. I mean, starting businesses is nothing new. But we have a few that it's the first time we're in this specific industry, right?
Sure.
And so it's been really interesting, and I had done some of the same things over and over and over and over again, and it had been a little while since we made some mistakes. So it was kind of like, that's a good, healthy reminder, because a mistake in business costs you money, and that's how you learn.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I think we overspent probably, on one project, probably a good $100,000, 100 plus.
Yeah.
So, Yeah,
which
so-
is not too bad.
No, I mean,
Really.
Depending on who you are, of course.
for the size of that project, I mean,
We've had
it's-
other projects we've overspent.
Yeah, a lot more.
Way
than that.
more than
yeah,
that,
a lot
yeah.
more than that.
Yeah.
So, you know, on this one, I'd say it's like a 5% error. Like if you want to be technical on this one, but I mean, in the grand scheme of things, it's you know, Walmart accounts for a 4% loss.
Sure.
Through theft, right?
Yeah.
So you know, if you
They call that shrink.
yeah, shrinkage, yeah. Yeah. So, and I'm, you know, it's really funny. They don't clarify whether that's an employee and or customer theft, which I would love to know. The
Right,
breakdown.
right.
So anyway,
Yeah. There's a lot of both.
I think that's right. I think actually they probably have more employee theft than they do.
I learned all about shrink when I trained at Best Buy for my 1 day of work I did there.
Oh, you
I'm
got
not
one
doing
through one
this.
day?
Yeah.
Was it the training that got you?
No, I just was like, I don't want to do this.
What were you going to do at Best Buy?
I was just in the camera department selling cameras and stuff, which I was not the right person for sales back then.
Yeah.
You know, I am now because I can put it on if I have to, but
Yeah.
it's not my nature.
You would be miserable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know.
Man.
But I worked as a lifeguard. and I just went, it made me good to at least teach. I taught at the Art Institute,
You know,
which is better.
yeah. I think that definitely fits
Sure.
you more. I fall right into sales, but I always I'll try to sell based on what I find of value, right? Like for life insurance, let's say, right?
Sure.
It's the easiest sell in the world, I think, because you're guaranteed to die.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it's the one thing that I'm going to sell you that I promise you if you keep long enough, you're going to use it.
Absolutely.
Guaranteed,
Yep.
right? So where's the pitch? You don't have to have one.
None.
Like
Yeah.
you got people you care about, great.
It's in the attitude and the delivery. And
Yeah,
the
100%,
charisma
yeah.
you use with that, you know.
Yeah, so I mean, you know, then really the need is there. Everybody has a need. Well, then it comes certain factors. What is the value of the need?
Yeah.
And what's the cost? What can they afford? Right, and
Right.
those two things intersect. That point intersects somewhere.
It's also something you believe in personally,
Oh yeah.
and you know the right way to do it, the right ways
100%,
to do it,
yeah.
the wrong ways to do it.
Well, I think that, and without going down a huge life insurance conversation, I think that using life insurance as far as like whole life or UL as an investment vehicle sometimes can, and I don't want to go down this too far, but I think that can be a mistake for some.
Right.
I feel like, my opinion, for the type of person I am, term insurance is the cheapest, the most insurance you can get for the cheapest price, right? Mm-hmm. So the money that I save from going with a whole life product or universal life product, like a permanent product, all that money I save, then for me, I'm just going to invest the difference. But not everybody can do that. So
Right. Yeah.
I don't want to say that's a one size fit all for everybody, but for me, that was the thing. So I saw value in it because, you know, if you've got somebody you care about, or even causes, you don't have to have children or a wife. You can have causes that you care about, and maybe you're donating to them. Maybe like there's
Right.
a film society or a local film school or
Yeah.
like whatever it is.
Sure.
And literally, you know, I know people that took out, you know, $70, $80 a month plans that were millions of dollars at the time because they were young enough when they did it.
Yeah.
And they're millions of dollars. And so if something happened to them at any point in a 30-year window, if something happened to them,
Right.
all this money goes to this organization or this cause they like.
Oh, wow.
You know, and you're talking about for a fraction of what you earn. So if you think about it from that perspective, like it's not just, oh, I've got kids or I've got a wife. I think there's a lot of great things you can do with it.
Right. Oh,
You
yeah,
know.
for sure.
So
For sure. Eric, like this right here, what just happened is basically you were asking me that question about how these guys affect me, and this right
so now you're ready to buy some life insurance, right?
I am. I'm ready to sign
And
up.
just so you know, I still am licensed
Yeah,
Life
talk-
and Health
talk to him.
PNC.
Okay.
And,
When I'm
I'm
ready.
not going to write the policy for you, but I'll definitely help.
He'll guide you.
Put me in
Yeah.
the right direction.
That's
Yeah.
why we had the podcast today, Jesse. We wanted to make sure
Yeah.
we got you into a...
Damn it. I knew
Your wife and I had a conversation this morning.
We have bad news.
Yes.
Oh, man.
Yes. I didn't want to tell you, but I'm glad we talked about it.
Me too, man. Me too.
Yeah. It's a morbid thing, and I think people try to ignore it, right? But I mean,
I think about death all the time.
Yeah, so
Since I can remember.
yeah.
Why is that, do you think?
I could blame Dad again, but I don't know if that's really fair. I don't know. Same reason I like Darth Vader and Stormtroopers.
Yeah.
I don't really. It's nothing I can really. I don't know. I don't know if that was something that I just thought like to be all the cool artists are depressed and wear black and stuff. I don't know if I had that thing going on when I was really young or not.
Right.
I certainly enacted that to some extent in college, but after a while, after like a year, I was like, "This is stupid," you know.
Yeah.
And you move on, but.
Yeah. This is a miscellaneous fact that has nothing to do with what we're talking about. However, well, other than the fact that the dog that I don't have yet that I've ordered. We're gonna name him Vader.
Oh yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah, solid black, giant schnauzer.
Nice.
So Chewbacca is my Labradoodle,
Nice.
Right.
Australian Labradoodle, and he looks like Chewbacca.
Right.
And so
I met Chewbacca, right? Was
yeah,
that the
you
one?
did. He came in on one of the
That's
episodes.
right. Good dog.
We're gonna have to figure out a way to cut to here or here.
That's Jesse's job.
Yeah, Jesse, can you like superimpose a picture of what Chewbacca was on the episode? Is that possible? I have no idea.
I'd have to. Yeah, I got to find.
Yeah.
that
Maybe we can
episode.
link to the episode if you want to check out my dog.
There we go. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's easy.
But anyway, so I'm gonna get, and we're gonna call him Vader. So
Nice.
yeah. So anyway, you said Vader.
One of
Yeah.
the coolest
Oh, yeah.
dogs I've ever seen was a giant black
Cock?
Great Dane.
Oh,
Yes.
sorry.
That's a different story. I'll tell that one too. You're the boss. A giant Great Dane named Vader. It was just super
Oh.
cool, man.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
See, I've never met a dog named Vader, but I like
Just that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that guy was cool too.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So yeah. Anyway,
Nice.
Talking about death,
Yeah.
it's an interesting thing to think about. I think about it some too.
Think about it almost constantly. Not in a bad way.
No,
I'm not
just-
depressed. I'm very
yeah,
happy. but,
subjectively, you're
just
thinking about it.
What is it? I want to know, and
Yeah.
I know that no one has the answer. I'll never know until it happens, and even then, do I really know or not? I don't know.
Yeah, what
But,
happens
yeah.
after that? Yeah, nobody
Yeah.
knows.
yeah.
What is consciousness?
Mhm.
Sort
I'm
of
fascinated by it.
Yeah, it's interesting.
That's a problem. That's also a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
know.
I think it's good to have those questions or
For
those
sure.
think about those ideas.
I think I was drawn to darker things when I was younger, and now I'm like
Yeah.
pushing myself away. I like happy shit, now
Yeah.
and stuff.
I go to bed. I'm watching happy shit. If I can throw something on just for a minute, like a YouTube or podcast or something.
Yeah.
I usually try to stick to the happy stuff. That's why I like the comedy spot. I think.
Yeah, yeah. I like
it's
lighter
a-
stuff.
It's a little bit of an escape. For me, the reason I don't like horror movies is because I do spend most of my time being scared of. You know what I mean? Like my life's been full of that shit. So I'll watch a Happy Gilmore movie.
yeah,
all day
for sure.
long.
I love Happy Gilmore. Yeah,
Yeah.
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 Yeah, Grandma's Boy is a good one. If it's on, I'll watch it for some reason.
I like the existential.
Yeah. You spend a lot of time in those thoughts and thinking about consciousness and all that. Dana, is that a thing that you mess with at all?
Yeah. So the Untethered Soul, awesome
Yes.
book. Did you finish it?
Just about, yeah.
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 The Untethered Soul for me.
That
which
book fucked me up.
did you finish it?
No. I had to put it down. It was reaffirming a lot of ideas that I had already had,
Yeah.
with the the multiple voices and all that.
Yeah.
If you're talking, who's listening and all that.
Yeah.
Boy, it put me in a wormhole, and I was like, let me get out of this thing. I'll come back to it when I'm ready.
Are
Yeah,
you one
so-
or many
Yeah.
selves?
Yeah, man. It's
I'm really
But-
enjoying it.
yeah. I've read it twice. I read his next. I actually wish I'd have read his second book, or well, it's actually his third. I wish I'd have read the next book that came after that first,
What's the author's name?
because it is Lord now into the
my
soul.
bad.
It is. See, you think the nap I'd be sharp? You getting it?
Yeah.
What's his name? It's gonna make me mad.
It's Michael A. Singer.
Yep,
Yeah,
Michael
Michael,
Singer.
Okay.
Yeah, so without spoiling too much of it, he ended up owning WebMD and a whole bunch of other stuff. Like
Okay.
this is this.
Super successful.
I'm
guy. Yeah.
gonna use the term hippie. That's not the right term,
Yeah,
but he
yeah.
lived in the woods in Florida,
Right.
right? I think outside of Gainesville, if I'm not mistaken. It's been a while since I've read it again, but and I mean,
He's enlightened.
yeah,
So new agey kind of.
very. I mean, he lived in the woods in a hut, and he ended up learning to program, right?
Yeah.
And just on the cusp, and then just the amount of things that he did was just absolutely amazing, right?
Right.
And you think about it, when you read the Untethered Soul, there's no way you think that guy is worth hundreds of millions of dollars and a wealthy businessman,
Right. Sure.
right? Because he's not the typical.
You'd be making a visual like him.
Yeah, so it was an interesting thing for me because
It's-
I had a new respect for it even further
Yeah.
because, I've met many people that are like that I think are like that, that are not successful at all because they've basically said, you know what, none of these worldly things are important, so I'm not going to focus on it. And see, he
Right.
was the other way. His was more of an enlightenment of this is like an exploration of what is reality, what is consciousness, what is these things, and I'm still going to function in society, right? Like I'm
Right.
still going to have a place. And really, I think what he did was he just continued to solve problems.
Right.
I feel like it's a great example of where introspection can lead.
All right.
Yeah.
Because it's really just a book about introspection.
Yeah.
It's about understanding your consciousness and your mind.
Right. This is interesting. I need to read this. My father shoved a whole bunch of the existentialism, the French existentialism from back in the 40s, and like all those authors on me as a kid, like Camus and Sartre and a lot of those guys. And though they wrote novels, it really wasn't about the story in the novel. It was about their head trip that they were going on in these things. And I thought that was kind of interesting.
Yeah.
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 I think for me, I think it took away some of the fear that was tied to it. You know, and I think it made, and that was done in a couple of ways, but I think one of them was because it made me, like, there were things that I didn't know how I was going to and I think I'm usually really good at articulating my point, but when it came to those thoughts, I wasn't, because I had spent so much time ignoring it.
Right.
Like kind of just pushing it to the back of my head.
Right.
And so I think it brought it like to the forefront, but then it also answered a lot of questions. Like a lot of things became really clear too. It was like, okay, this makes a lot of sense now. So it gave me, I told Neil, it kind of rocked me actually for a little bit. And there were chapters, like chapter 9's an awesome, I don't know if you've read chapter 9 yet, but chapter 9 just sticks
Probably
out.
aren't right
Chapter
now.
9's an awesome chapter. But there were things, and we had talked about this in a previous podcast, but you know, about essentially we spend our life in avoidance of a problem instead of solving the problem. Right? It's an awesome chapter.
Oh, yeah.
Okay?
We totally do.
And that really woke me up because, you know, without going into it, let's just say you have this problem, but instead of solving the problem, you invent this thing that helps you avoid the problem.
Right.
And then because you invented that thing, now you've got a new problem, which you have to invent something else. And literally you go down this path of inventing 3 or 4 or 5 things, but you never really addressed the original problem.
Yeah.
Right? You just found creative new ways to avoid the problem.
Right.
Yeah, I'm past that. Yeah.
Instead of using a Band-Aid, you're just creating more cuts.
Exactly.
You're growing tumors around it.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
and as you do that, that's like the baggage that you pick up in life, right? And as you do that, it gets harder and harder and harder because what you're doing is you're trying to avoid this problem that you never really faced.
Sure.
And so, like, if you can just face the problem and experience it and then let it pass through you,
Yeah.
right? Like when you're driving down the highway, right? You don't focus on all the trees that you're passing,
No.
right? But if you did, right? If you had to stop and focus on every single tree,
Never get anything done.
you'd never get anything done. You'd never get anywhere, right?
No.
And like that was the thing. That's like the problems have to become like the trees on the side of the highway, right? And you almost have to just like the cars passing by, like everything else. You've got to process it so that you can move past it.
Got to filter out all the bullshit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was a good book, man. And I mean, there's when you read it, if you're struggling, I think this is probably terrible advice, but I think if you were struggling with reality, if you were struggling with the thoughts of death and these things, I think it could be very beneficial.
Sure.
However, I think there is probably a certain segment of people that are going to have a really hard time getting through it.
Sure.
But I think if you can get through it, it's an awesome thing.
Oh, yeah.
So because it's going to force you, if you actually truly read it, and it's not a book that you just sit and read cover to cover.
Sure. You read parts of it and think about it.
Man, I read so much that I could have read that book in one sitting, right?
Sure.
That book, you can't read that book in one sitting. Like if you actually process it,
Yeah.
You're going to think about it. Yeah.
you're going to have
Yeah.
chapters hit you, and you
Oh,
can't
yeah.
pick the book back up because you can't get past that last chapter.
Oh, yeah.
And that's what I liked about it. It was actually like,
Well, I've read a lot of other things while I'm reading that.
yeah,
Like I'll just go back to it.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's I suggest it for sure. And I don't even know how we got on this question, but yeah, the untethered soul. What brought that
Definitely.
It was
to read it.
asking you if you think about spirituality.
We're
Yeah,
talking
so
about
that-
death and
so-
existential ideas. And stuff.
So Neil, it started with Neil, conversations with Neil, and it brought out, and him and I have can definitely go down some long rabbit holes,
Absolutely.
right?
Yeah.
And it's always productive. There's always an end in sight. But I mean, we'll go down some different paths, and Neil introduced me to some different things, which were questions I had for a long time, and then on that journey, kind of like, I don't know how, but I just found this. You know, the Untethered Soul was actually on a suggested reading list
from that
that
guy you follow.
Modern Day Knight or Modern Day Warrior, Modern Day Knight, something like that.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't
But he had like a suggested reading list.
Okay.
And I bought all the books on the reading list just because that's how I am. I was like, oh yeah, I'll get
Sure.
all the ones I
You're a
didn't.
reading machine, though.
Yeah, all the ones I didn't have, so I just bought them all. And for whatever reason, The Untethered Soul is the first one I read. So I don't know. It was that simple.
But didn't know anything
And
about it.
there's a unicorn. You don't catch this till after you read it. So I just like, oh, well, there's this horse on the front of this cover. It's actually a unicorn, which I think is kind of special and makes more sense. You know.
Yeah.
So, but either way, no, I did spend quite a bit of time, and I still spend some time on it. And I think it helps give you a perspective about life in general too.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So
I think it also, it's all about self-awareness. So if if there's something that's really bothering you, it really doesn't have to. Like you can,
Oh no.
you can just ignore it.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's not, I mean, you look at this thing that's bothering you, and you can say, well, can I do something about it or not?
Yeah.
If you can't do anything about it, then you can just let it go.
Yeah.
That's a difficult proposition for most people.
Yeah,
I mean,
for sure.
I'm sitting in that myself right now, right? Like, so the other day, I get home and my apartment's raining from the ceiling. The people who moved out upstairs left their water just running and plugged the drains. And
I'm assuming they got evicted because the eviction moratorium is over.
Maybe, possibly.
Oh,
I've been hearing about a lot of vandalism.
The landlord actually wasn't evicted. It is a whole different situation, but it freaked me out because that's my space and all my stuff and all of that. And I went through about 12 hours of just, God damn it, why? And then I was like, well, what am I gonna do about it?
Yeah.
I can stress out,
Yeah.
or I can just write 4 minutes of material on it and hope to recoup some of those losses on stage.
Yeah, I mean that's right though. Like
Yeah.
you just have to figure out what to do in that moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Neil and I spoke about it yesterday. I think you got to find the positive in it.
That's
And
it.
the very first thing that I said was, it's a good thing he brought some of his stuff up here to the show.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure, for sure.
You know?
Yeah,
I mean, and like to me, like, what's the positive?
yeah.
Um,
I already that was the question I asked, and I pulled it out of it pretty quickly.
Yeah.
And it's been all right, but that is a very new thing for me.
Right.
Did you document any of this stuff? You got pictures or anything? Or
Yeah,
video?
I got some pictures and all of that, and honestly, the place needed to be fixed up anyway. So you know what I mean, and that's
Could
the
be
good
a
thing, right?
silver
Yeah.
lining. Yeah.
It's all fine. Everybody I care about is safe,
Yeah.
and it's just stuff.
Did any of your stuff get messed up? Or?
Some of it, but
Yeah.
Those collectibles needed some water.
Yeah.
I think I lead the league in dwellings being destroyed in the last few years. I lived in that RV for a while, and a hurricane came by and dropped a tree on it.
Oof.
And now this one, and it's like, well, geez. Hopefully that's the last one.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah.
2 in 5 years is a lot.
Yeah.
Well, it's not the last.
It's not the last bad thing that's going to
Bad
happen,
thing, yeah.
but hopefully it's the last time my house gets destroyed.
Right. Yeah.
I
Yes,
mean,
that's
and if it isn't, hopefully keep working so that when these things hit me, they don't hit me as hard, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so years ago when that happened, it wrecked me. That was everything. And
Yeah.
now when it happens this time, it wrecked me for 12 hours. Hopefully next time it'll be an hour. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
I
for sure.
You got to get to that. You'll get to that point.
Yeah.
Just don't even.
Yeah.
I'm more irritated when with other people are like all been out of shape. It's an irritation. I'm like, well,
Yeah. Right.
and people are like, I don't know how you can think about it like that. And Neil and I were just like, well, I mean, what do you do?
If you
Yeah.
can step
Yeah.
out of yourself, you're hurting yourself by.
That's right. If
going
you get really upset
too
about
crazy,
something,
yeah.
it makes it worse.
Yeah.
It's just
Well,
adding to
Self-hatred's
it.
not good.
What I realized, what calmed me down was, because the last couple weeks have been a lot of emotions up and down.
Yeah.
And what I realized is because these people did a silly thing that affected me, if I get out of hand, it affects the people that I care about.
Yeah.
And
Right.
I'm not going to allow it.
That's good.
None of us can control with exact certainty what happens to us, but we can control how we react to it.
That's it.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's how you get control in an uncontrollable situation.
Yeah.
Sometimes things catch you off guard.
Yeah, man. My 5-year-old does it all the time.
You gotta reel it back in.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
for sure.
yeah, we were talking about this yesterday. The amygdala.
Yeah.
Every once in a while, like I'm still like I got to be honest, like, and I'm a big guy. I'm a big teddy bear. I'm also very capable.
Also a grizzly bear.
Yeah, I'm also very capable of killing you with my bare hands. Like it's not that I'm the nicest guy in the world, but there's this other part of me, right? And every once in a while, like I'll have that response without thought, without thinking it through, the emotional, that aggressive, whatever, and it's not intentional.
Lose your shit moment.
Yeah,
I had it last week.
yeah.
Yeah.
It happens.
I mean, it happens, and I got to tell you, it might be healthy sometimes. Like some of those windows I broke in my house, I learned some valuable lessons because for like everything's back order right now, right? With because whatever what we've got going on, right? You can't get shit in. So these windows are custom sized windows, right?
Sure.
I don't remember. It was like 10 weeks, a long time.
Yeah.
That I had cardboard up in my home, and I could hear. So you think this is my master bedroom, so I'm literally listening to like the wind, the rain. I'm hearing like everything, and I punished myself for like 10 weeks, and so like for me it was like, you know what?
And what it cost you?
Oh, it cost a ton of money. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it is what it is. But so losing my temper for a moment, this is a good example, like what you were just talking about. Like it causes, if you depend on how you handle that, it could affect those you care about. Like losing my temper for a moment in this scenario cost me, let's say 8 approximately weeks of turmoil. It cost me money and additional stress, and it's all these things. And then you imagine that instead of hitting those windows, I could hit somebody else, and then that negative effect passes to the ones you care about.
Yeah.
So like that's the way. Like so, I tried to turn it into a positive and go, what did I really lose my shit about? And it was something so small. I actually was laughing at myself. Like, why would you do that?
Were there other things before that?
I'm sure. There's always things.
There's
always things. Yeah.
But in that moment, like other things that were already happening.
I had some Yetis.
Something.
My wife makes me. She's awesome. She makes these lemon waters before I go to bed every night. Like when I come home, if I come home at 3:00 in the morning, I've got the 2 Yetis sitting, the big ones, right?
Yeah,
and they've got the right amount of ice. I'm very particular about how much ice I want in it, and water and a little bit of lemon juice in them, fresh lemon juice. And anyway, they were there, and they're projectiles, and I lost it for just a split moment, and like literally, it was just like that simple.
Right.
And I don't know.
So I would say, guys like Daniel and I, our stress and anxiety and stuff is like, it's almost like an ocean under the surface.
Yeah.
And it's always there.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And sometimes something will just set you off, and it catches you off guard if you're not prepared. You get better with that with age.
Yeah.
Of course.
God,
but
I hope so.
Yeah. Yeah, you get better with age, but it's always the stuff's always there.
Yeah.
So we're human. We have amygdalas, and
Oh yeah.
that primal brain will sometimes
Catching that fire, if you can catch it right when it first happens.
if you're
control it.
conscious of what's setting it off, then you can prevent it.
Yeah.
But if something happens so quickly that that you're not conscious of it, it's already
I've
and you're
gotten
already
to where
there.
my calm down period is really quick.
I like that
That's
too.
good.
Yeah.
So Tony Robbins has this thing about this 2-minute reset. I cannot find the video where he talks about it, but I can't do it in 2 minutes.
Still kind of bullshit.
I can't do it in 2 minutes. It just
2 minutes isn't enough. But
it's not enough. I have been able to reset completely reset, and if it's a major thing in 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah,
Sure.
that's
I mean,
about right.
I'll shift gears and positive, but almost immediately. But really, it's still there for a period.
Right.
Yeah.
You have to come to a period of acceptance. You have to accept what happened and be cool with it.
Well, I think that's part of the age thing too. Like now, if something catches me off guard, and I can be conscious of what's happening quickly,
Yeah.
then I'll still feel that intense emotion.
Sure.
But I don't let it control me. I can just
Right.
I'll walk away from the situation, or I'll
yeah.
do something else. I'll get myself out of it.
Yeah.
And then but it still takes 15, 20 minutes to calm down.
Sure. Sure.
I've started to notice, like last week, I got in an argument with basically an inanimate object, like he's not present in his head, and he's a bowl of soup, and he's a bowl of soup who posts on Reddit, like that's
There's a lot of bowls of soup. So.
and I let what he said affect me so much because I was in such an intense place, like trying to work on things and trying to help other people, and I shouldn't have listened to that at all. And then that carried over into some stuff with some other people, and that's when I realized I was like, man, I I can't let this person
Yeah.
dictate my relationships with people that I care about. You know, but I'm getting better at it. Like I took some pauses in the middle, and you know, I didn't choke anybody to death, which is a big win today.
Right.
There's definitely. So imagine you've got somebody that you impose your will on, right? And in the moment, you think that that's what's going to make you feel better, but actually, it makes you feel 10 times worse.
Worse.
Yeah.
For way longer.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so I tried to just be really conscious of that. There was a period of my life where I literally went back and had to seek people out in high school that I was a dick to. You know, and I couldn't rest. Like that whole thing about my pending list and the haunting me, like that haunted me for a long time.
Yeah.
So like you think about that, and I go, one of my biggest fears, if we're talking about fears, is like I don't want my children to be scared of me.
Right.
Right? Isn't that weird? Like, like even if I just for just a split second react where they become fearful.
Interesting.
I mean, I don't mean like I'm violent. I'm not. I don't spank my kids, but like if I react in like a way where it's just
the assertive part comes
right,
in.
and you know, I'm 300 pounds. My 5-year-old is 45, 50 pounds, and he's a little badass. But like if I'm just that, sometimes like I can see it, and I'll very quickly go to like a silly because I'm like, oh shit, because when you don't want someone you love to fear you,
No, you
right?
don't.
Yeah.
No, you don't.
But when I was younger, I thought wrongfully.
That's how you got control.
I did, because I was tired of getting whatever, the shit kicked out of me or this, that, you know. Like he says his muscles are all what is self-defense muscles.
Bullying gone right.
Yeah. Bullying gone right, you know, and I think that's what it became for me, because, you know, I've got a vivid memory of 8. I'm 8 years old, and I got the shit kicked out of me by a bunch of older kids. Like, you know, it just becomes part of this way you survive.
Sure.
People just survive different ways. Like what happened to you.
Yeah.
If something like that happened to me, I remember I was a little shit.
I'd be fighting.
Yeah, I'd be fighting. I'd be going and getting a rock or a stick or something, and I'd be hitting you in the fucking, you know, excuse my French, but I'd be coming at you,
all
right?
in.
I was just glad to be alive, getting out from under the thing.
Yeah, so,
Man.
but I don't know that your response is worse. My response just was what it was.
I had but I didn't know who it was. Like there were a bunch of kids, and I'm like,
I'd
well,
be beating up everybody.
I
I'd
would
probably get beat up, but I would be hitting them.
I would have tried to fight everybody. I would have got the shit beat out of me, and then I would have thrown rocks to everybody's way. I promise you. I know. That's happened. You know what I mean?
I've literally
You've got a little bit of vindictiveness in you.
Oh, yeah. I'm 99% vindictiveness.
That's what I should name my dog, Vendetta.
I let things go immediately, man.
I've gotten to that point, yeah. There was a period, though, from like 13, 14, definitely, to 25.
Sure.
Where I was firm.
But that's the reaction that comes from, you know, when if I get into a fight, I feel bad for the people, because I used to fight a lot of people who were bigger than me at the same time. So now if I fight one person, it's a problem for them.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
yeah.
Because if you're a small person fighting giants, you're used to fighting giants. And then when you fight somebody who's the regular size, my reactions are way over the top.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? But that's in my DNA. You know what I mean? And what is it about you that allowed you to let that stuff go at an early age, man?
It's just who I am.
Well, I don't know that he got to it at an early age.
He did
Early
earlier
age.
than most.
Letting it go?
Yeah.
What do you think?
So, I mean, anytime I've gotten into a fight with somebody.
Oh, that part. I thought you meant like not fighting.
Oh, no.
I was going to say
I would fight before I realized I was fighting.
Yeah, I was going to say, I was like, wait a second, hold on.
They had maybe.
I know for a fact you kicked the shit out of a few people.
I got the shit kicked out of me too, but
Yeah.
I had to see a psychologist in second grade because I was fighting so much.
Yeah.
But my problem though when I started school was before school, I was always around adults.
Yeah.
I was always with my dad and other adults.
Same.
And I wasn't used to other kids.
Yeah.
I only had maybe 2 friends that were children when I was, before I started school.
Right.
And they were still a couple years older than me. So when I started kindergarten, I was around other kids and I just wasn't used to it. And
they're hitting each other and slapping each other. And
yeah, and
doing
it
all
just
kind of stuff.
I wasn't properly socialized
Yeah.
when I started school, so it was a tough transition for me.
Right.
Yeah.
But that's also, I was also very creative from my whole life because I think a lot of it had to do with just being in isolation a lot, by myself.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just figured out real quick, like, if you do something I don't like and I hit you, it deters the behavior. Because I was spanked when I was growing up, and like and I'll tell people I don't play fight. Like, don't hit me. Like from I remember from elementary school, like they want to don't hit me, don't slap me, don't trip me, don't come up behind me and pop your knee into my knee. Like, don't stick your leg out and trip me. Like, I'm gonna get up, knock the shit out of you. Like, it's gonna happen.
You ever see those videos of people being surprised by like somebody? There's this one video that I love the most. It's this guy. He's walking down the hallway in high school, and somebody jumps out of the trash can, and he fucking punches him. And I'm like, don't
do that.
Don't do that.
Yeah, I agree. I saw one very similar where the guy punches his girlfriend in the shower because she was hiding in the shower with the curtain, and he's peeing. Yes.
Yeah, it's, that's me. When enough bad stuff happens to you, you have a default mode.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yo, real talk.
Yeah.
I just talked about this over the weekend. I haven't been to a haunted house in, I don't know, since I was 18, 19 years old, because I fucked a guy up.
Yep.
Literally. First of all, you shouldn't touch me.
Right.
Honestly.
Take that off the table.
Yeah, don't touch me. That was, but I lost it. I lost my shit. Like, I lost it. But I haven't been back to one. I don't know, in my adult life, I don't recall ever going to an adult, past that point. Like,
we're gonna put you and I in boxing gloves and let us walk to a fucking haunted. Because I mean, that is a response that you just have ingrained in you at a certain point. When you've been scared enough, that's why I can't watch scary movies. You know,
I loved haunted houses.
I know you do. You're a weirdo, man.
I like it too. My problem is I'll walk through them and I'll probably know the people there. Like last time I was at one, I started talking to him. I was totally ruining his deal,
vibe,
but I just started talking about some part of the thing.
We had on, remember
Joe and
Soraya?
Soraya?
They were awesome. They're very
awesome.
Yeah, they were awesome. And I was just like, really into it. And I was just like, I'm gonna have to check it out. And then I thought about it. I was like,
theirs is really good. They don't typically touch you there. They will like jump. They're the guy people that jump
most
out
of them
at
don't
you.
do that now.
I just don't know that I can take it.
Yeah, no,
I don't think you would.
I don't think I'd hit anybody at this
scares
point.
anyway.
But
You
I just
wouldn't.
don't know
You wouldn't
like
even have the. It's just fun now.
Yeah, no, but I
You
just-
would end
it
up buying the building and turning all the lights on.
Yeah. I was gonna say, man, it might cost some. There's got to be a reason. I'll need to dive into that and figure out why. But yeah, I just don't. Well, I don't like being.
It's a good
touched.
business. Actually,
I don't either.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you. I don't either.
Yeah, it just. I don't know. There's probably some level of abuse when I was younger, and it's like, I'm sure that's what it is.
Yeah.
You know.
Well,
like-
I mean, yeah, it's all trauma based, right?
Yeah.
Trauma.
So either way, but
Isn't it weird that four grown men in a room talking about trauma it's a pretty new thing?
oh yeah,
Like years ago, this wouldn't have been a conversation that people have, and
That's
this
true.
is important
Yeah.
to have
Right.
because
Yeah.
while we're all fully formed, hopefully human beings. These conversations just don't happen a lot because we get judged for that stuff. But that is what a lot of things are based off. You know what I mean?
oh
I
yeah.
kind of quit giving a shit when I got older. I used to just worry about what other people thought of me when I was young, but I don't fucking care.
Well,
anymore.
the generation before us too was a brutal generation,
Every
and then the one before them.
Every generation
It gets worse.
Hopefully
the
less-
further back you go.
Yeah,
the
I was
worse
gonna say,
it
but
gets.
hopefully the newer ones are getting. I hope so because I'm gonna.
I think so.
Somebody hurts my kids. Like I've told some adults just so you know. With my kids, I warn them. My kids are very respectful. Yes sir, yes ma'am. They're not, but they're all been in Taekwondo. They're boys. Like I don't spank them because I don't want them to be too violent. Like
Right.
I grew up very violently. I took it and became violent with the way I was brought up. So I just was worried that might be genetic by some chance. I was like, I don't want to push my kids too hard,
Sure.
but I want to be able to defend themselves.
Yeah.
But I warn everybody. I'm like, look, if your kids play fight with my kids, I don't think they should. If they do, my kids will hit them back. Like playfully, but there's a difference in they've been doing Taekwondo for 5 years,
Right,
and they
trained.
playfully pop your kid in the face.
It's
Yeah.
a different that level of precision is different.
Yeah.
If you can have a big kid who's really strong fight
Yeah.
a little kid who's just taken a couple classes,
Yeah.
and they know where the button is.
Yeah. And if my 5-year-old punches you, an adult male, in the face, you're not going to like it. I promise you.
Yeah.
Because he does it to me, and I encourage it because I think it's funny. We're in the pool, and I'm like teaching them, how to get out of headlocks and pushing on the elbow, a little bit,
Sure.
with a little bit of pressure.
Yeah.
He's going to
And-
be a real nightmare in haunted houses.
Yeah,
one day.
bro. And then he jabs me in the face, and I'm like, hey, I should have turned away. Like I know, right? He's like, got you. So it's a game for us, right?
And you probably teach them other methods of
Oh,
problem
100%.
solving.
Oh,
all the
100%.
time, like
Yeah.
dealing with other people.
Yeah, 100%. But it's like, I've told some parents though, where I was a little bit worried. I'm like, look, I just got to, because older kids or that felt like they're being abusive towards my children.
Sure.
I have had some few moments of weakness, like, hey, if your kid hurts my kid, I can't touch your kid, but I can fuck you up. And I've definitely said that at play date, play and learn events like Jamboree. So
that's great.
Yeah, I got asked to leave one time.
I got kicked out.
These are years ago.
I got kicked out of a little league baseball game as an adult. Things happen.
Oh shit. Oh,
this one was like 8 years ago with my oldest when he was like 2 or 3. I was like a little defensive, but like your kids, like you had told us the other day, like Jesse, be thankful you don't have to worry about that at the moment.
If I got violent for anything, it would be for my daughter.
Yeah.
I worry about it like if we adopt in the future and stuff.
You
I'm
should.
thinking about like ghost versions of it that probably won't happen.
Fortunately, you're pretty laid back, so
Yeah.
I think it'll do well.
I think you should adopt, by the way.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
I don't even know.
One day, maybe. If not a person, some dogs.
A person, bro. There's a lot of kids out there that don't have.
Yeah, I know.
Growing up without parents, they need somebody.
Yeah.
I think that's a.
Yeah, it's one of the best ways we can affect.
If we don't, I'd still like to find a way to give to organizations that help.
Everybody. You had said yesterday, you're like, what do you do when something traumatic happens? Like, I always try to immediately try to find like the positive in it, because there is some way to be positive about it. But then the other side of it is, I'll use Eric's thing. He said, "What's chaos for the fly is
normal
for the spider," right?
Yeah,
that's a Morticia Adams quote.
There you go, Morticia Adams, right? Well, think about it though. What I would consider to be a bad day, some people would consider to be a blessing.
Sure.
And like when I think about like children that don't have, and you just think about, you could literally change someone's life, and
a lot of lives,
a lot of them,
yeah.
Because that one life that you change is going to change other lives, right?
Yeah.
That's every good deed we do.
Carries.
One of our partners, I didn't know this until, I'm not going to say his name, but he was at a boys' home here in Greensboro. His parents adopted him, and I think, I'm probably going to mess this up, but his 4 sisters, and the 5 of them, now very, very wealthy family, but adopted 5 kids.
Right.
And I believe it's 4 or 5, and they own the real estate trust, and they manage together, and I believe he's the only boy, and I would have never known this. But talking about, like, it's a really interesting thing. I would have never known that. But, and I've met other people that were adopted, and it's like, this is going to sound really bad, but they grew up to live a quote-unquote normal life,
right,
and affect change, and they're positive, and you feel like, and actually their life started from this traumatic place. Like,
sure,
lost both parents, ended up in this system that didn't have any hope for himself, and then ended up getting adopted, and then kind of like you hear his story about how it took a long time to feel like that was his family. And then he said somewhere along the line, like the line blurred to where that was his family.
Yeah.
And now obviously 30 years later, it's that, there's no question, right? So it's just an interesting thing. I spent some time thinking about adoption as well. So
that's part of the healing of humanity, though, right? It's eliminating things like poverty and and
suffering.
I mean, if you decreasing suffering, because if you eliminate things like poverty, you won't have these issues.
Yeah.
You won't have orphans and people without and I have to go existential, but like we were talking about the other night, it's it's likely we're all the same thing. It's a star exploded and and we're that matter. We're those particles, and whatever we are, we're all connected. We're all from the same thing. So
everything's made out of interlocking things.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think it's just empathy. I think we're becoming more empathetic and more aware.
Yeah.
And we're constantly trying to figure it out and make things better and make humanity better, make the planet better.
Yeah.
Try to go beyond the planet.
Oh yeah.
And I think it's some
we'll
of the issues.
COVID cough.
So COVID rolled up.
Yeah. That's the next strain of weed I'm making. It's called the COVID strain.
Oh, thank you, sir.
So some of the issues I think we face in society are just that overcorrection.
Yeah.
And then some of it is power constructs trying to hang on to power or trying to develop new grips. But
it makes sense when you look back at it happening.
yeah, but you can tell a difference. You know,
Yeah.
But I'm hopeful that humanity will progress in a positive direction, and
For sure.
you know that we'll still value individual freedom and individual empowerment, and
Sure.
and then things will become more and more decentralized, and we'll eliminate things like poverty and homelessness and all these
I hope so.
difficult things we have. I mean, we are.
Yeah.
Just the hope is that
The trend
nothing
continues
stops
and
it.
it gets
Yeah.
better. Yeah.
Yeah. And it gets faster.
So since we were talking about kids and adoption, and obviously I said that you were married, but where did you meet your wife?
I met her at a party at a friend's house.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and
This was in college or after college?
Nah, this was we've been married 12 years together. By Thanksgiving, about 13. Just a friend's house, and what was it from The Godfather? Neither one of us are Italian, but the Italian Thunderbolt. It was immediate, you know.
Yeah.
I was in my 30s. I'd been through many relationships and stuff, but nothing stuck, and I don't know. It was just a different sensation than I had previously.
Isn't that weird?
It's weird.
Yeah,
it's
man.
really weird.
I think I fight it sometimes.
Right.
Like, I don't know if you ever did that or not, but I fight the, almost like you don't want to accept it. It's like, wait a second.
Maybe feelings when I was a little younger. I think it helped that I was as old as I was when I got.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah.
Because I was 34. Okay, I was gonna say late 30s, but it's been a while.
Yeah. But so you guys have been together for a little while. You met at a friend's party, and now, does your wife know that you were considering adoption?
We've talked about it on and off for along the span since we've been together. Nothing real serious yet. Nothing really ever serious. Just as we could do that one day kind of thing. That's about it.
Yeah. No rush, man. Don't worry. They're not starving. They're in the system.
I'd still like to help somehow. I'd like to get to a place to be able to help.
On a side note, like there's things you can do, like the Big Brothers program, and there's some other stuff that you can do that. And I got to tell you, I was a foster parent. Jessica was in foster care when I met her. It's a long story, and not my story to tell, but she wanted to be a foster parent really bad. She wanted to give back. So at like 19, we started in Randolph County at DSS. We started the program, right? And I can't remember. I felt like we did it in the evenings. I worked all the time. We fit it in. I think it was like 2-hour blocks for like 6 weeks or 8 weeks. What felt like forever. And we went through the entire class, everything, and then graduated the class, get the first aid and CPR certification, all this stuff, right? And then got through the class, and then they told us you had to be 21 to foster kids. And I'm like, well, that would have been awesome to tell us, because we literally got through and got certified and got licensed, and then they wouldn't give us a kid until we were 21, which seems kind of asinine to me, but I get it.
They could have told you that.
Yeah, it would have been awesome to tell me, but at the same point, like, let's say you can be 17-year-old male and go fight for your country and die, but you can't take care of a child that doesn't have a home.
I know. I got a lot of problems with that whole thing.
Yeah, I mean, so like that was a little frustrating, but
devil's advocate a little bit. Sometimes you get tattoos at 18, 19, and then you're 24, and you're like, holy shit, that was a bad idea.
Right.
Oh, no. Now, listen, they think that there's a lot of studies saying that the male's frontal cortex doesn't even finish forming until 26, but really they're saying that you don't even really know who you are and understand as a male until 30, right? You're not even fully mature until 30.
Yeah.
So
how many wars do you think we'd have if you had to be 27
yeah,
to go to war?
Probably none.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I mean, my knees are bad at that point. So.
I'm kind of the mindset, though, everybody would hate. I would have hated this because I was definitely a rebel in my teenage years. But, I mean, there's a lot of things that I don't know that you should be able to do at 18. Commitments
Yeah.
you should be able to make. Like, I don't think you should be able to marry somebody, whether you love them or not is fine, but like you're going to sign a contract at 8. I just don't know. But then again, I don't know that's the government's job to restrict that either. But
Right.
like, there's some things I'm like, a safety net would have been awesome. Like,
I'm good with raising that age well into the 50s.
yeah. I'm thinking like, some decisions,
With the legal married
maybe you need a witness to sign. Like, you need somebody else to agree with your
Pass
decision.
a few competency exams.
Yeah, something.
I don't think you should be able to go to war at 18.
Yeah, I mean, I agree.
I mean, you shouldn't have to go to war before you can have a drink.
Well,
Actually,
I mean,
and
Right,
this is going to come.
yeah.
This is going to land real
21
well.
should be the minimum age.
the
Yeah.
root word of infantry is infant. I mean,
Yeah.
it's you get these people who
True,
haven't
yeah.
fully formed their heads
Yeah.
together, and you get them to like.
I
die
think
for you.
women have rights and equal rights, and I think the women should fight the wars, all of them across the world. I think we should put it in. The women are going to take over, and all the wars are going to be fought by the women. Let's just do that.
We'd have a lot less wars.
I
Yeah.
agree completely.
Yeah.
I agree completely. That's a terrible idea. It's a terrible
No,
idea.
I'm all right with it. You
Well,
know?
women are the best fighter pilots, so our air defense of the world would be
Is that true?
Yeah.
on lockdown. Yeah, they can handle more G's. They don't pass out because of the legs, the blood in their legs.
Interesting.
That's a new fact. I like that.
Yeah, you like miscellaneous facts.
I love
There you go.
miscellaneous fact. I've got that one now. I'll give you credit the first few times I use it, and then it's
No,
mine.
it's yours.
You know, I'm sure there's charts that
Yeah.
give all that, but that's just a small thing.
So at 21, it was very brutal, but foster care. I was going to say, as you guys could look into the foster system,
Yeah.
because there's a huge need there.
Yeah.
We didn't check a box to adopt, which literally at that time we did everything that we needed to be adopt ready, but we just didn't check the box, and it was a fail-safe.
Right. Yeah.
Because if you don't check the box, it keeps you from making a rash decision. And we wanted
Sure.
our thought process was, don't just help one child or two children, help a lot of children, right?
Yeah.
We ended up with over a period of time 7 children.
Right.
Anyway, we had 2 children that, and I think he was like 6 months old when we got him, and I think she was 2.5, brother and sister, and
Yeah.
like we weren't supposed to have them. Obviously they children were African American. I'm white. They didn't. We were in a small town. They didn't like that.
Yeah.
It was supposed to be an emergency placement just for like the weekend or the week.
Right.
What turned into weekend, turned into week, turned into a month, turned into 6 months.
Yeah.
And I really do believe if we had checked the box foster adopt ready, that would have been what happened.
Yeah.
But and anyway, long story short, that was brutal. Like what they had to go through, things that happened to them at that age,
Oh yeah.
and then kind of going through that experience, it kind of was a little bit heartbreaking.
Yeah.
And then the children being with you for so long, for 6 months is a long time, I think.
Yeah.
And then them leaving.
That had to hurt.
It hurt, right? It hurt, and then I'll tell you, and there's a lot of turnover in the foster care system of good families. I think,
Yeah.
not the ones that are trying to abuse the system. Like if you go into foster care to make the whatever money that the stipend that they give you to, and you're profiting from that, it's such a small amount of money, like that you're not taking care of the child, right? Like
Oh,
that's
no.
And you're a superiorly lazy person.
exactly. So
I knew a lot of those families growing up. I mean, a lot of my friends were in those homes, and
Yeah.
you'd go and there'd be six to eight kids living in a house, and they didn't have anything the same way I did. It was just a lot of them, but the parents were collecting those checks
Yeah.
monthly for each.
we
of the
couldn't
kids.
stand that. Like, but the good ones, there was turnover because the good ones, like it hurt him in the feels, like,
Yeah.
and after the last group, the last 3 that we had, I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Like I was just like,
Yeah.
I was like, I'm over it. I can't. It just was heart
You
wrenching.
get
mean, that's
attached
like-
to everybody.
Yeah,
Because
it's
you
like-
get stuck. These children have got these like this is the abuse that some of these children have had to endure.
Yeah.
And then you're having to live it, right? You're having to deal with that trauma, and you're having to,
Yeah.
and then sometimes the families that are the ones abusing them, the members, are given rights, like, and you have to take the kids to these places to visit.
Yeah.
And it was just like, I don't care if it's supervised or not, like, it just was brutal.
Yeah.
Right, and then the
what you're
effect it
talking
had
about.
on the child. So anyway, the point is that I'm doing a great job being a salesperson for being a foster parent. But you could also look into that,
Right.
And there are a lot of people that end up fostering. There's people that foster to adopt successfully.
Sure.
And we've met families that had fostered like dozens of children over a 30 and 40 year period,
Right.
like, and gotten them through college. Like
Sure.
it was like this family's thing was to take children and get them through this process and get them through college. And like they had, the hats on the walls and all the stuff, and it was kind of like a really cool thing.
Yeah.
The lives that they had helped change. So
awesome.
anyways, that's something you could look at too.
Yeah, definitely.
And
Definitely.
the reason I was getting to it is, even though it's nothing, at minimum, the state is covering their health insurance.
Right.
Right, there is some subsidy to help with some of the
Sure.
living cost.
Right.
So, like, rather, and if you chose to adopt, there are some insurances and things that remain.
I'm sure.
Through the time, as long as they're in school, through I think even through college, there's some
Right.
programs and stuff. So,
Right
so that's something to look into too.
For sure.
Anyway,
Yeah.
Oh, after you went through that process with the adoption and realizing that fostering wasn't for you, was there something that you did that still was helping people out? I mean, you seem
no,
like the
yeah,
type of person
yeah,
that
I
would
do.
adjust.
I've got a huge soft spot for kids and less for adults. And somebody said something to me like, well, adults were kids once too, right? But like, I think the problem for me is at some point you have to take responsibility for yourself, right? But I'm not trying to be jaded, and I think there are unique circumstances, but I think by and large I've met so many lazy adults that just refuse to make a difficult decision, and it's very frustrating for me, whereas children just can't help it. They can't help the environment. They're trapped.
Harder to change when you're older.
Yeah, it's much harder to
Yeah.
change when you're older, right? And I don't know. I'm much more sympathetic to children.
There's a better chance to help.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And but I'm also cool with adults that are doing the wrong things. I've just treated differently, so I don't get disappointed. Like, let's say I'm gonna give you food, like, and you're homeless. I've gotten a good routine down. So, hey, this is steak and chicken with rice from Kobe, and Kobe Steakhouse, and there's $20 on top just in case this isn't something you like, and you can give the food to somebody else. And there's a Gatorade, right? Like, here's this thing. Here's some money.
Right.
Like, I know for a fact, statistically, what they're doing with the money, right? And it's okay. But here's this thing. Here's this. I'm trying to do this nice thing for you, and communicating to them like, hey, here's what's inside. Here's where it's from.
Right.
Here's this money. I wish you the best.
Yeah.
And I went through a period where it started as a joke, but I would be like, hey man, I'll give you $20 if you tell me what your drug of choice is. And I would ride around, and because everybody, I think the homelessness is there's a lot of a mental aspect to it,
Absolutely.
and then there's mainly in this area there's an opioid crisis, so I think that's a big part of it. So drugs is a big part of it.
Yeah.
And so
Well, I still think that's mental illness.
mental illness, yeah.
Sure.
But I mean, for the most part, most of the people said heroin, basically methamphetamines.
Yeah.
But they get, and so like but it was nice to see. I think for me it was kind of eye opening. Like, not a single one of the one I said, hey, I'll give you $20 if you tell me what your drug of choice is. Never, not one time did I get, I don't do drugs.
Right. They're honest.
They were honest about it,
Mm-hmm.
and I gave them the $20. I mean, and then it got to the point where I was like, it doesn't matter anymore what their drug of choice is, right? Right? Like, if you're going to help somebody,
Yeah.
it's irrelevant what they choose to do with the help. So then I switched gears, and it was more like,
If you help them get by another day.
yeah, exactly. So I don't know. I went through this weird thing, but no, I still do things, and I'm not against the foster care system. I think or adoption at this point. Actually, Jessica and I have talked about adopting. And we're looking at other options because I would love to have a daughter. I hate to pick, but I've got 3 boys. I'd love to
Right.
have a daughter. But I'm not against it, but I have a different set of things because now I've got 3 children in my house that if I bring a child in that's been abused,
Right. You
gotta be careful.
unfortunately,
Yeah.
that child may abuse others, not because they
It's
want
a learned
to.
behavior.
It's a learned
It's the
behavior.
Well, you
same
don't know
way-
how they're going to be.
It's
Yeah.
the same way for you and I, where anger, we're so quick to it because that's kind of where we grew up. I mean,
Yeah.
you repeat the things that you're.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even
From
a baby,
Yeah.
if they'd had gone through trauma,
Yeah.
can come through it.
Yeah, so for me, it's like if I didn't have young kids and I didn't have Jessica in my life, I think I would actually probably adopt like all teenage boys, or foster all teenage boys,
Right.
Because like I think I do really well because I can deal with I've dealt with a lot, and I think I could be like, But
Right.
I can't do that. Obviously, you can't bring teenage boys that are brought up in that environment into the type of home that I have.
Right.
I think you're asking for a problem. But I think I've thought
Yeah.
about that before. Like,
Yeah.
there's a need there, and there's
You'll
you
see
know
it like a ranch or something. And,
Yeah.
Yeah.
something.
Fighting
So
gym.
yeah, well, I mean, I just think if you can help fix it early enough,
Yeah.
because if not, they're all going to prison, or they're going to the grave, or they're going to prison.
Or just gonna have a tough life.
Yeah, very
Yeah.
tough.
There are a few exceptions, but they're
Yeah.
less than 1%.
Right.
Yep. So anyway, not to get all morbid, but yeah, no, I do stuff. We've done the backpacks for kids. So Charlotte's got, it's pre the pandemic. There was, so many, I can't remember the number, like 200,000 kids that the last meal that they would eat would be at school on lunch on Friday. And then the next meal that they would have would be breakfast on for the school system. For these poorer school systems, they would do breakfast on Monday mornings. And these kids wouldn't eat over the weekend, so we packed the backpacks, backpacks with food for the weekend. And every one of them almost always has a sibling, so you would do things like the heat up macaronis. You know, I'm talking about the microwave macaronis.
I was the kid going to the parks on Saturdays to get those meals.
Yeah,
You know
yeah.
what I mean? I went to school diligently because I could get breakfast
And
then
lunch.
lunch.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And I did something. So at our school system, I got really upset one day because one of my kids, I don't know what happened, but they were served a school lunch which was not available. So it's not the lunch that everybody else got.
Right.
It was like this shit lunch.
Right.
Right? Like, okay, this child doesn't have any money. We're not going to make him starve, but we're not going to let him eat what everybody else is
Get the
eating.
fake peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
Yeah, and it really irritated me. So what I did, I had some words with the school. I'm an advocate for my kids and for other people's kids. And then, two, I donated money. I did a fund. And I'm like, look, I don't want any kid. If a child does not have money, I want you to bill this and let them eat whatever the hell they want to eat.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like get them the food that they would get normally, right?
Yeah.
And so, and I continued to replenish that until I pulled my kids out of with the whole COVID thing. Personal choice, but
For sure.
I had to pull my children out of school, and I did it until that point. So,
Right.
but there's always ways, I think, to help in a way that you find fit. And
Yeah.
so, like me, I just trying to find ways to give back, and then
I did the
Yeah.
same thing. It was when my kids were in school. I'd always go talk and, whatever extra money I had, that's for whoever can't afford it.
yeah,
And when the book fairs would come around, I'd always go on the first day, and whoever was running it, here's an extra $100. If you see a couple kids looking at books,
That's
and
awesome,
not buying them, like get them a fucking book. Because when I was a kid, those book fair days, the worst days at school.
yeah,
Because I wasn't getting shit, and everybody
Yeah.
else was coming in with cool pencils and erasers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I just
Yeah.
wanted to read a book, man.
that's a good idea. I didn't even think about that, but that's a good idea. But yeah, no, I tried to do stuff, and then there are other things like with the cars, and I try to do it in a way that doesn't come off that I'm trying to be a dick, because I'm not. But I love, man, the kids come up and they want to, and I'm like, hey, get in the car, take a picture. I've let kids start it. I got to remember sometimes to tell them, like when I tell them to give it some gas, they don't know. They just stomp it, right? Like they don't know to pump the gas. So like
Right.
I've learned a few little tricks now, but try to let them in. I let the parents get in. Like I try to make a good thing out of it, and then if I hear a kid make a comment that implies that they can't do that, which that's a learned thing, that's something they've been taught.
Sure.
I just immediately like, nah, sure you can. Like I try to use it as a motivating thing. So I don't know. I try. I mean, who knows what the right way is, but just try to leave people in a better position than when you found them.
Yeah, kindness has never been a
Yeah.
bad
Yeah,
thing.
man.
Nah.
So I don't know, but
Need more of it.
I think you'd be an awesome parent. I think you guys should pursue that, even if it's
Maybe so.
there's a lot of ways to do it. The Big Brothers program, like
Yeah.
going and doing activities
In
with other
teaching,
kids.
I did like helping people. I mean, that was one of the actual teaching's great in
Yeah,
teaching.
and-
Everything else sucks.
That's I think that's one of the best things you could possibly do is, take a thing that you love and show that to
Sure.
yeah.
to kids that would maybe love it. you
Right.
know?
Yeah.
Like
Exactly.
having all of that stuff available, being in proximity is super important. You know?
All it took was somebody to show me a couple of cool things that you can do when you're young, and that just set me off
Yeah.
Yeah, then you make a
thinking
movie.
about it. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
What are you working on now? Anything new?
I'm getting ready to go heavy into some pre-production for a feature film called Trapdoor Spider. I'm going to do it with my brothers from Other Mothers, Jason Buterin and Jason Ledford. We got together and we did Kill Giggles, which is coming out really soon. I promise.
I was gonna say, when is that coming out again? I'm excited to see it.
Yeah.
It's Halloween around the corner, so
I'm thinking, hopefully.
Yeah.
I don't want to jinx it, but sometime this year, hopefully, please God.
That's
hopefully, Halloween will be great.
Lionsgate, right?
Yeah. I guess we can say that. It's okay.
Well, you can edit it out if we can.
Yeah, exactly. I
just
think,
bleep it out.
I think we can say it now. Jason's sort of accidentally said it about 100 times on social media anyway. So I think
he's trying to pressure him into it now.
Yeah, exactly. We're just going to let this go, and we're not going to worry about it. Yeah, exactly. But Trapdoor Spiders, sort of, I guess that's the next feature we're going to do, and then Jason Ledford's got a feature. He's finishing up his script now, which I'm really excited about that one. But I need to concentrate on this one.
Yeah.
And hopefully we'll be able to shoot it. God, I'd love to shoot it in maybe like spring of 2023 or something like that.
Okay, nice.
And then hopefully he'll be ready to do his like not too long after that. That'll
Very
be good.
cool.
Yeah.
I saw a picture that looked just like Buterin on the internet. You know what I'm talking about? The one where
He's got a lot of doppelgangers. Yeah.
Yeah, it was like very goth, like blacked out. I don't know if you remember the picture, but it was here a few weeks ago.
Right. Oh yeah. And then he looks like that too in some of his pictures.
Yeah. And I was like, is that him?
It's
and then,
almost. Yeah.
Yeah, it was very close.
Yeah.
Very close.
Yeah.
So I can't wait to watch this actually.
Yeah.
So I've been hearing about it for like
I want to see it too. Yeah.
I guess a little over a year, right?
I guess so. Yeah.
Yeah.
We had finished the QC for it like over a year ago, and then we just finished doing the QC again.
Yeah.
Even though it passed before. I don't know if I can say that either, but I'm not caring right now.
Well, Jason was one of our first guests on the show. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. That was
Well, the great thing
right.
is, if you don't want to say it, you can just edit all
That's
of
right.
this.
I
He's
know.
the editor.
Yeah. I'm not too worried about it. you know.
And Eric can mark the time.
Oh, I'm not doing anything.
I'm sort of like
I'm trying to figure out what's happening over
I'm
here.
sort of an ask forgiveness later kind of guy. you
Yeah,
know.
man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You get further in life with that.
Yeah, exactly.
That's true.
It's like, oops, I did not know
Relationships,
that.
100%. 100%. I got to tell you,
I'm happy to hear you guys say that.
Yeah. I got to tell you, like there's, I was thinking, and a great app to be would be like the what's the word where you agree to have sex with somebody?
Oh, consent.
Consent app, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And then I didn't realize after saying it to a few people that they were like, oh, there is one, and I was like, I had no clue. I think it's a terrible idea because if you ask, like I get it, but on some level, like talk about ruining the moment. Like, hey,
Yeah.
can you check boxes of all the things that we can
Well,
do?
I mean,
yeah.
putting on a condom is a check in a box. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, if you want to talk about a deal breaker, how about putting a balloon on your dick? You know what I mean? I'd rather do a little bit of paperwork.
Yeah. That's true. That's a really good point. That's why I don't use condoms. But
You're not going to have to adopt at all. You'll be fine.
I'm kind of glad I missed the whole electronic dating thing. Like,
Oh,
I
man.
Oh, no,
didn't
yeah.
really have to ever do that, you know?
I've
And
got
then
a-
I remember when it was starting to happen, I'm like, what are these guys, what are these people doing?
Yeah. I think I got a good friend of mine, and I'm not going to say his name, but I'm thinking about taking out billboards. Literally, I'm going to spend $30,000, $40,000. I'm going to take out billboards. I'm going to run a click funnel. I'm going to create this just like a business. The road to the cell. I'm going to have him answer questionnaires, have all these girls answer.
Right.
Yeah, I'm going to treat it like a business and see if I can't solve this problem, but
Right.
he would hate it. And I've already been doing a lot of work on this. I've got some really embarrassing pictures of him.
Right.
Ones I love because we've been
Right.
best friends since I'm 11, and
Sure.
I can have pictures of another man with a shirt off doing weird poses, and it's not gay.
But it's your brother, man.
Yeah, it's my brother. I don't
Yeah.
care. And if it was gay, go fuck yourself.
Well, yeah,
I don't
who
care.
cares? Yeah.
So, but I'm going to post these pictures. I'm going to blow them up and put them on these billboards because I think they're awesome, and he's going to hate me for it.
Yeah.
And other women are going to be attracted to it. I think that's what's going to work.
All right.
I wish I'd have just got that close up on Neil just then.
Neil's like,
On that note,
oh shit.
so tell everyone how they can follow you on social media and
Super easy.
YouTube, whatever.
Just any kind of search bar anywhere, type in Jesse Knight Films, and that handles all of my social media. I'm in all of them. But the main ones, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube.
Yeah.
And
What-
here,
you can
the
find
Creative
me.
Businessmen Studios.
And
Yeah.
at Creative Businessmen Studios.
And the OnlyFans, I know that they've made some changes recently. You're not going to be able to do the nude parts. But OnlyFans,
Yeah. I mean, we can just build some websites, you know?
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. Not OnlyFans.
Not OnlyFans, yeah, no. That one's...
Well, I appreciate you guys having
Yeah,
me
dude.
on.
Yeah, it's been fun.
Yeah.
And also it's been fun having Eric as the producer.
Oh,
yeah.
thanks, man.
You've
Yeah,
been
good
doing
job,
great, man.
Yeah, yeah. I see you over there like, I can't tell if he's like lost on the clicker a little bit or...
Is it just the wide shot all the way, or we got some?
There's one or two times when there's nothing on the screen, but what are you going to do? He's just,
Hey, you need to put in like a unicorn. Like if it goes blank, just put just like superimpose a unicorn.
I'm trying to figure this stuff out, and what Jesse does is difficult. I'm just, we'll figure it out.
The more you do, the better you get.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I gotta start learning how to press some buttons too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
All right, guys.
Later, guys.
Well, hope you guys enjoyed the episode. If you did, be sure to like and subscribe. We'll see you next week.
Later.
Bye.
Bye.